Good.
Okay.
Go live, little bro.
We are now live.
Oh, there we go. I just got a massive ad right to start.
You got an ad?
I got an ad on my own channel too, bro. There we go. Damn
Unacceptable.
Righty, everybody. Good afternoon. It's currently 6 p.m. in Japan. What's the time in Geneva? Let me see. It's 11 a.m. So everyone's probably walking around looking at, some nice hitters at the moment. Anyway, we'll give it a little bit of time for people to come in and we can start talking about.
I think everyone's getting the ad right now.
Probably. Well, when they watch it back, they might love it. So, I guess to start off, what's on the agenda?
What's on the agenda today?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff happening from Watches and Wonders. And you said that you were going to prepare us a PowerPoint presentation on all the stuff that happened at Watches and Wonders. So you're going to be leading the show, most part.
Yep, that's correct. So I prepared a 57 slide deck on all of the releases that I think are worth talking about. So there's a lot of watches to talk about there. We also have some other topics to talk about as well from the live streams. So maybe we'll start with those ones first. So I guess, Judah, what was your very first watch, and do you still have it?
Like questions? Very first watch?
Yeah.
It was actually like a wired watch. Do you know what wired is?
Yeah, they're like a sub brand of Seiko.
Yeah, I got a wired watch when I was younger, and I didn't really care for it. I actually just didn't like that watch at all. I just received it, but I needed it for like class or whatever. And I remember just like scraping the casing, like the glass. I think I have it around here somewhere. I would have to dig through and show you guys. What was your first watch?
I honestly don't even remember like the full details. It was probably just like a Casio, like a G-Shock or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I was a pretty autistic child growing up.
Right.
Diagnosed, by the way.
Yeah.
So I didn't like having anything on my body at all, basically. So I think I just barely even wore it, to be honest. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's long gone.
Yeah. What brand was it you said?
I'm pretty sure it was some kind of Casio, something like that.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream, guys. Can everyone hear us? Everything all good?
Do we have any? It doesn't sound like we have any light music in the background.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through to see what's good. This is good.
The guy on the left looks like a gooner. What the hell? The dude on the right looks like he's in a cold place. Yes, right now in Tokyo, it says rain is coming, and it's like been 10 degrees, 12 degrees all day. So yeah, it's nice and cold. I got a little hot blanket on, electrical blanket on. So
You have a little blanket on you?
I do a little electrical blanket.
Nice.
Anyway, guys, welcome in. All right, do we want to jump into the presentation, or any other questions?
Are we done with like all the questions from last stream?
No, we got a ton actually. So next question from Riley
is like one or two before we start the main stuff, just to get everyone rolling in here.
Yeah, when you're looking for a new watch, do you also consider how the watch will look with the third-party straps?
I haven't really messed with too many like swapping the straps or anything. So when I do, I don't really think about that too much, honestly. I like it the way it is.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of the same, right? Like the only watch that I bought that hasn't come with a strap is that the one that we bought in the upcoming flea market video, should drop this weekend. So yeah, that's the only one that I was really because it didn't come with a strap. I had to think quite in depth about it. But apart from that, I don't even really consider straps. But you know, it's hard for me to visualize if it'll look good on another strap until I get in there. Right?
Yeah.
So for Yuta mainly, but Chris can chime in. Were there any watches you were super interested in but couldn't get because of its size? Can you handle the sizes? Is what they're saying basically. Hello, can you hear me? Damn, what's happened to little bro? All right, yeah, I guess I'll chime in then. Yeah, my wrists are about 6.5, 7 inches, so nothing crazy. A bit on the shorter side, to be honest. Yeah, I mean that's mainly the reason why I can't, you know, wear anything on the bigger size. The GMT Master 2 is about 42 mils, so that's not too bad for me. But yeah, above that, I think it starts getting a little too big. I think 41, 42 mil is my like biggest. But yeah, I can't think of any watch specifically. Yuta, what about yourself?
What is this a question about? Just like sizes?
Yeah, just about any watch that you think was too big for your wrist and you didn't end up going for it, or you know you think it's not like. Do you really consider the size?
Yeah, if it's way too big, I just don't really like it. But I mean, I wear G-Shocks a lot, so like if it's, as long as it's not big as like a G-Shock, like I'm pretty much fine with it.
Yeah, the G-Shock that I have is a little big, but I think it's fine because it's a G-Shock. If it was any other size, like any other watch, it would be too big for that size, right?
Yeah.
Because that one's big and thick, so it's like 13 mil, 13.5 mil thick, and it's like, you know, 44 or 42 mils wide. So that one does it. We've got a comment from Andy who says, I just saw the episode with the guy with the freaking 180k Patek Phillippe Aquanaut. Only in Japan can you walk around with that safely.
Yeah, that was one of the more controversial episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think you could walk around with that in some place like Sydney or Singapore, right? As well, it would be fine to walk around with that. But yeah, a lot of people had a lot to say about that watch and about that guest. Joby's Kill says Yuta's the size queen. Flushed emoji.
God.
So another question we got asked is about the Dream/Grail watches. Do you have any Dream/Grail watch that you want to talk about?
I'm not really that interested in like getting something really expensive. Like maybe if it's like a Rolex, I'll probably go for like a Datejust maybe. I think those are nice. I want one of those.
Like,
but
what
those is a
color
micro
dial?
brand called the Brew Watch. I really like those. The Brew watches.
Yeah, Brewmatics, they're quite.
Yeah, Brewmatics.
And the new Kuo, you were really excited for the new Kuo limited edition, right? The 5th anniversary, but that one was sold out pretty quick.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool, but I wasn't really gonna like jump the gun and get it. I do want a cool way one day, but I'll just save that for maybe like the next Kyoto trip.
Yeah, hopefully we'll try and organize it sometime early this, or I guess already past the early, like middle of this year. We'll try and go to Kyoto, film some episodes there. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, we want to do an episode in Kyoto for sure.
Yeah. Alrighty, shall we start up the presentation that we've got, the new watches and one?
You want to start the presentation?
Yeah, I think it's ready. We're about 10 minutes in.
10 minutes in. Sure, let's do it.
I think we hop in and start it up. So do you want to start sharing the first?
So we're on the very first slide here. I think you should tell me which slide I'm on.
Yeah, let me also
Can you maybe explain what this is for people watching?
Yeah, so I sent you a let me bring that one up for you as I'll link it to you. But yeah, there's a little video there that we can see that kind of goes into, you know, what it is.
You sent me a video where?
I just sent it to you on Discord. And his watches says, I haven't got any cool watches. I want to save them for when I go to their studio. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I
I
was
think
thinking too. Just
it's nice to do it in person, right?
yeah,
It's
just
always
go there
nice
in
to do
person.
something in person. Yeah, we did speak to them a little bit about maybe filming an episode, talking with them kind of in in depth.
Yeah.
Because we want to kind of see, we want to hear what they have to think about their brand, like why it's popular, etc. Yeah, all right. So yeah, let's play this Watches and Wonders, release
All right. Yeah.
teaser
So
video.
let's do that. Can you maybe explain what Watches and Wonders are before we start this video?
Yeah, sure. So this is like the biggest watch event, like the most premier watch event for releases throughout the year, right? So essentially, all of the big brands will come here on April 1st through, I think it's 1st through 4th is the normal days, and then the weekend 5 and 6 is when it's open to the public. And essentially, you get to see all of the new watches that they're announcing. You get to see them in person, play with them, and this is like the premier event, right? All the biggest releases are usually done during this week.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. Someone in chat says TLDR Rolex Land Dweller. I feel like most people are talking about that at the moment, but there's a lot of news, and I can't wait to get through it. So let's play the video.
Yep.
April 1st to 7th.
Yeah. Yeah. So 1 to 4 is the days for the business people, and then on the weekend it's open to the public.
Wouldn't it be cool if we were able to go to this one of these days?
Yeah, 2026. I mean, if we can get like 100K subs, we'd love to.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Just
Yeah.
doing like street interview videos out there.
Yeah. I did Google, flights to Switzerland, right? And
How's that?
we might
How
be
much
able
is
to
that?
do it for less than like 80,000 yen, something like that.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so Marcelo Time says hi. See many G-Shock Mr. G's there? No, I mean we weren't there in person, but I don't think you'd see that many Mr. G's, right? This is more for kind of horology, but I do like MIGs, and we have seen a fair few. That would be a pretty cool episode. Andre says, "Hello, Watch Maniacs. Anyone have an oyster quartz for sale?" Yeah, I think if you bought an oyster quartz over the past 2-3 years, you basically are probably able to double or triple your money now. But yeah, all right. So the presentation. Let's start it. Watches and Wonders 2025. Right? I gave you a little overview of what it is. It's basically where all the new releases are going. Uh, so yeah, let's jump into the next slide where we can talk about, I think the biggest one, right, that everybody
Mhm.
wants to hear about, obviously Rolex, right?
Yep.
That's they make about 95% of the world's profit in terms of watches, right? They're the big kind of money makers, and everyone when they make a bit of money, they're doing well in their career, their life. For a lot of people, their first and last watch or luxury watch is a Rolex, right? So it kind of starts and ends here for most people. So the way that we're going to do it is we're going to talk about each of the models, and then I've created also a little tier list, and me and Yuta will talk about whether we think it's a hitter or a shitter.
All right.
Uh,
Are we gonna
so
get controversial here, or
we might a little bit.
okay?
Can you handle that controversy? Is the question, Yuta?
Sure. I've been through a lot of controversies, so I'm used to
Yeah, yeah. I remember anyway, so
it.
with this one, don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, yeah, too
It's
fun.
all for fun. Even if we call something a shitter, we don't think it's actually, completely shit. We just, it's all for fun. It's all to enjoy and discuss the watches a little bit critically. Alrighty, so yeah, so these are the models that were announced, the major kind of models that were announced. So why don't we go to the next slide and talk about what everybody has wanting to talk about, which is the land.
Yep, here is a land dweller.
Yeah, so Land Dweller, three main models, right? First one in steel, about 15K. Another one in rose gold in 42K, and then a one above that as well called platinum in 63. So that's a fair bit of money, right? That's a fair bit of money. And I think, for a lot of people, right, the dial is the first thing everyone's talking about. The dial. But we'll actually talk about a lot of things that make it interesting or different, etc. So let's go to the next slide. I think the first everyone will see is the case. So it's an integrated bracelet case, which means that the case feeds straight into the bracelet, right? And gives it, a very different look. Obviously, a lot of people will know the Tissot PRX. The Audemars Piguet. A lot of their bracelets, a lot of their watches are integrated, especially the Royal Oak is integrated case bracelet, right?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of Rolex, they've done this before in the above watch there, the Oyster Quartz date just and the Oyster Quartz day dates, right? So it looks pretty interesting, right? It's quite a bit different from what they've done or any of the other kind of recent models. The closest I'd say is it's kind of a mix between a date just and a Royal Oak, or a date just and a PRX, right? So the main points here to really talk about is, it's a 5 hertz movement. So this is the first time that Rolex has done a really high frequency movement. So that beats 36,000 times per hour. So, maybe Rolex were feeling a little bit of pressure from Grand Seiko, right? They have the same thing, the 36,000 beats per hour movement. And it's actually 20% thinner than a date just. So I don't think a lot of people are really talking about this, but it's 9.7 millimeters thick. So it's, a whole 2.3 millimeters thinner than a date just. So on the wrist, this is going to feel really, really thin. And, you won't be banging it into doors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so the other thing is that it's a flat hidden Jubilee bracelet. So we'll see that bracelet a little kind of more in the previous slide. But what that kind of means is, if you've seen the normal GMT Master 2 or a lot of the other models, their bracelet has like a big chunky bit that you have to kind of pull on. On this one, it just has a hidden clasp, so you just pull on the Rolex logo on the bracelet and you open it up, which is kind of cool. And then it's got an exhibition case back, so you can see the movement. It's got a honeycomb dial that everyone's talking about, and it's got a very different hairspring, made out of this siloxy, which is like a silicon mix thing, right? And it's very shock resistant. So, this is a lot of the things that people have been saying to Rolex, right? We'll go into it a little bit on the next stream, but into the next slide. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think about this one in the chat? We're seeing some people saying if it was 8K, 10K max, maybe, but 15K, that's a shitter. What do you feel about it? What do you feel about it, Yudo?
I'm not much of a Rolex guy, but I don't really. I think the issue here is a lot of people are upset about the pricing, right? I think that's like the number one thing that people are upset. But like the watch itself is pretty. The inside of the watch is very impressive,
Yeah.
especially for like Rolex, right? So yeah, I do get that it's a little annoying. That's with 63K for one of the models, but I think it's still pretty impressive. But is it new? Is it something
Yeah,
that
I
we've
think.
never seen before?
Yeah, exactly. I think the thing is, the closest competitor to this is the Datejust, right? And so Steel Datejust is about 10K, and the Steel Land Dweller is about 15K, right? But a lot of that 5K is going towards the movement, right? So the movement in this is, much, much better than a Datejust, right? So maybe go to the next slide so we can take a look at the movement a little bit more
Can we
in depth.
talk about this comment real quick? It says, someone said the honeycomb dial looks like chicken wire, and now I can't unsee it.
Oh, bro, I haven't had dinner yet. You're gonna make me hungry.
All right, next slide.
Yeah, next slide. The standard Datejust is at 10K already. Why the shock on the pricing given the massive upgrade to the movement? Yeah, I think that's a good point. So the next one here is, this is the nicest case back from Rolex ever, right? So the other equivalent kind of movement to this is the 9135 that was in the 9140 that was in the 1908. And this one here is the 1940, so it's upgraded in a few ways. So my question is, was Rolex feeling the pressure from the Chinese clone factories, perhaps, right? Because when you don't have an exhibition case back, it's a lot easier to make like a super clone copy Rolex that looks 95, 98% similar, right? Now with this exhibition case back, you can flip over any if these clone factories make a lange or a clone, they flip over the back and then you see the movement and you're like, wait, that's not a Siloxy hairspring, and the movement finishing isn't good and it's a lot easier to spot compared to the current where the clone factors are pretty damn close.
Right, so this is like one of the first. They've done the open back before too. Yes. When's the last time they had something like this?
Yeah, so in the other models we have that have an open back, it's the 1908, which is their other dress watch, right? But it doesn't have a metal bracelet. And then the other ones that we've had is in the Lamar Daytona and the Platinum Daytona, right? The Platona. So if you wanted to get an exhibition case back, you either need to get either need to get one on a leather strap or get one on that's like a 50, 100K plus like limited edition Daytona, right? And it's hard enough to get a normal Daytona, let alone one of these more expensive ones, right?
Well, let's move on to the next slide. You have any questions you want to answer in the chat?
Yeah, so some people are saying, let's see. So Ricky says, hello from Outback Queensland. Awesome to have a viewer from Outback Queensland. Andy says the chicken wire dial, though. The dial, I want to see this with other dial options because I'm not a big fan of the dial either. It kind of feels like a worse version of the like Rolex motif, the fluted motif that we've had before, right? And yeah, another Quashri is mentioning the Dynapole system. Yeah, so there's a lot of other things with the movement that I didn't mention, but it's really got a lot of innovations, right? I think they filed like 10 plus patents for this movement, so the movement is like a lot better. And yeah, like I said, it's for the stainless steel model, it's only 15K. For the rose gold, it's 42. For the platinum, it's 63. So for the non-precious metal, it's not a crazy price, and for the precious metal ones, it's not a crazy price either, right? So yeah, I think a lot of people are getting sticker shock, but you're basically getting a much better Datejust for an extra $5,000 with an exhibition case back. So I think when you look at it from that situation, I'll be excited to see, maybe 6 months from now they release some more standard kind of Datejust style dials, and then people will completely change and say, this is a better Datejust, right? Like we shouldn't have treated it so harsh.
All right, let's move on to the next slide.
Yeah, so here is where I think a question is it better looking without the 6/9, right? So on the these are the two variants of the platinum land dweller, right? And so when you go to the diamond set one here, it removes the 6 and 9, right? So I'll leave the 69 jokes to you guys. I'm not as creative on that one, but I think that it does look better. The symmetry is a lot better without the Explorer style 6 and 9, right? It just looks a ton better with these diamond set ones, right? So I do think in the future they might release ones without these kind of horrendous 6 and 9, without the chicken wire dial, and then people will say their opinions will change from this is a shitter to this is a hitter, right? Yeah, do you have anything you want to add on to this one, Yuda?
What is the design choice behind getting rid of the 69 though? What's happening?
I think it's just with with the diamond hour markers, they just decided to put it across all of them, right? So that's actually, you can see there the bezel is all baguette diamonds,
Hmm.
and then the hour markers are all baguette diamonds as well, right? So that's, to jump from this is like, I think it's like 60, it goes from 63K up to like 120K for these diamond set ones.
Okay.
This is for someone who, I go.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if anyone in the chat would want to buy this. If money wasn't an issue, would you buy a land dweller? Yes or no?
And do you guys think it's better without the 6 and 9? And if it had a normal like date just dial, does that change your mind and you'd like go out and buy it with a normal dial? So in the chat we're saying Tim Cheeseman says, I do like the Landrel overall, but some improvements that may come in the future iterations. Without a doubt, it's better without the oral numerals. It looks like a Tissot PRX slash Maurice Lacroix. Yeah, I see that. Those look like fish scales to me. Were they given it snake scales for the year of the snake? Maybe that's the sales strategy, right? They gave it, they're trying to start selling again in China.
No,
Quashri.
everyone's saying no.
I see. All right, let's jump on to the next slide then. So the next slide here
Oh,
is
okay.
the Seiko honeycomb, right? So there was a Seiko Presage here for about 320, 400, I think it's 500 USD max. And the question is, did Seiko do it better? In brackets, real. And to be honest, I like the Seiko one more. With the white and gold. I think it's a better looking dial. If they didn't do that open heart design, right? Is the Seiko a better one? And of course, the other one is the PRX, right? That's everyone's comparing it to the PRX, which I didn't chuck on here, but maybe I'll chuck on a. I'll do it. I'll edit it live and chuck in a PRX with a gold dial.
Will that work while it's in presentation mode?
Yeah, here we go.
All right, let's see it happen.
All right, I chucked it on. You might have to go back a slide and then forward
Okay, hold on.
to get it to work, but I don't.
Sorry. Yeah, it's not
Oh,
working.
leak. Oh,
It was
okay.
leaked. Okay, I see it. I see it now. All right, good job.
Yeah. So the Tissot PRX, right? That's the thing that looks closest to this.
Editing it live. Nice.
But Jasper says the Land Rover with the factory diamonds are nice. Mr. Alex Buterian says without chicken wire. Mr. JKL says Seiko or Grand Seiko all day, every day. We're going to, after we finish the Rolex, we're going to the Grand Seiko. So if you have the tier list open, let's chuck up the tier list now, and then we got to, talk about whether or not we think where we're going to rank it, right? Shit or a hit.
Wait, you want to do that right now? The land
yeah.
dweller?
Oh, we can do it at the end. Do you want
Let's
to do
do
it
it
at the
then.
end?
Let's do it then.
Okay. All right. Let's jump into the next slide then. So we have GMT Master 2. Two models, too hot to handle.
Okay.
Right? So both of these are 50K. So 50, I don't know whether is it 50 bands? No, 5 bags. 5 bags or 50 bands, right? It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Is it worth it, right? So let's go on to the next slide. And this one here is the Tiger Iron, right? So a lot of you in the chat are probably thinking, what even is a Tiger Iron, dude?
Yeah.
And is that what you were thinking?
Yeah. Where did they get this from? It sounds like a. Sorry if I'm showing my age here, but like it sounds like a Call of Duty like skin from your gun.
A camo, yeah. It doesn't sound like
a tiger camo. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, well, basically, it's a mix-up of the tiger bit comes from the tiger's eye, and then it also has red jasper and then silvery hematite, which is, where the iron kind of part comes from. So it's a mixed kind of stone dial, right?
Mm.
So with this one, I think the question is Rolex exploring more stone dials, right? Could we see in the future an aventurine Batman? Could we see, we have a meteorite Pepsi already, but could we see like an onyx dial, all black GMT Master 2, right? It is possible. That's where I think if this sells really, really well and people love it, we'll get more stone dials from Rolex across the board, not just in their day dates.
It's nice that they're experimenting, but yeah, someone in chat says it's not. It's nice, but not for your first Rolex. I totally agree with that. It's probably
Yeah,
not the first
yeah,
one you get.
yeah. I think this is for someone who they buy maybe a root beer and they love it, and then they're like, I want to buy a better root beer, right? Or I want to go for a full precious metal root beer, something a little nicer. Um, Mr. JKL says Rolex needs to hire someone with a better idea. Nick says I wear crystals and this is ugly. Um, Wing2RN says, but does the tiger eye show up when you hold it up to the light? Well, this is a pretty heavy kind of stone dial, so you'd be able to see this all the time, right? But Jovi's Kill says, are you like 50 years old?
Is he saying that to me?
I think he is, yeah.
Dang.
I think you came out when Call of Duty 1. You were probably playing Call of Duty 1, little bro.
No, I was out there.
Yeah.
I was fighting a real war.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, for me, we'll talk about it more at the end. So maybe we just go to the next one.
Oh wow! All right.
So the next one here, yeah, I wrote ceramis. Let me edit that. It's a ceramic dial, and then ceramic dial. So it's basically made out of green ceramic, right? So I don't think they've done this before, if I understand. But this one as well is also precious metal, which is why they're both 50K, right? So this is white gold case, and it's a Sprite, which is called that way because it's got black at the top and then green at the bottom, right? And this is the left-handed GMT Master, right? So the crown is actually on the left side. So this is the second gold GMT Master 2 that we've gotten, right? Well, okay, we have rose gold, and then the white gold one, we have the white gold Pepsi, and now this is the white gold Sprite. So what this proves is that even left-handed people deserve precious metal, I guess, right?
Claps. Shout out to all the left-handed people.
Yeah, are you left-handed, Pesha?
No.
Oh, no,
I think there's only what's the percentage on the population of left-handed people? Like less than 10%, was it?
Yeah, I think it's 8 to 10, something like that. But it would be more if they weren't discriminated against, right? Because they get forced to write with their right hand during school.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's any lefties watching right now.
Left-handed people, you can't say lefties like that.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, that did sound a little.
Not to get political or anything.
Sorry.
So yeah, Carrot says Rolex has arrived at stone dials. Wing says, when I first saw this image, I thought it was stacked wood, then sliced from the dial. I think he's talking about the tiger's eye.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've chosen a really interesting type of mineral for their dial. Some of them are just plain uninteresting. Ceramic makes sense for anti-scratching, but you can't touch a dial. Yeah, that makes sense. The green color on the Sprite is excellent. I think the reason why they chose to go with ceramic on the dial here is that it makes it really easy to color match between the bottom of the dial, the bezel and the dial, right? So it just makes it super easy.
Yeah, I love it. Might be the product shot, and maybe that's why it looks so good. But I would like to see this in person. I love the colors. This one, it's a good choice.
Yeah. No, I think it's a natural evolution, right? I think it makes sense, but we'll talk about it more at the end. So let's go to the next slide.
This comment. Next, I'll be making watches for gingers.
That's what the root beer is.
That was the root
beer.
We already have one.
Yeah, exactly.
Oyster Perpetual.
Yeah, so Oyster Perpetual. I'm calling this one, Candyland or Smarties.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look, the lavender there looks exactly the same as the Smartie color. The beige looks exactly the same as the Smartie color, and then the pistachio one looks exactly the same as the Smartie color as well.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So this is interesting. So what's going on here? Why are they expanding and doing different colors now?
Yeah, I think it just makes sense, right? Maybe for the people who want to collect all the Infinity Stones, like Thanos, right? They've got they want all the different colors. So I think too, they discontinued the celebration dial, and it just makes sense to add more colors, right? And I think this is nice, little pastel colors. Maybe they're going after like the Sanrio, the Hello Kitty girls, right? They need to have a watch that matches the color with their pastel, clothing,
It
right?
looks like
Maybe that's the
like
reason.
Apple made this. You know what I mean? It's an amplification of Rolex. I actually dig the look for sure.
Mm. Yeah. So ND is saying, I think this is more for the ladies. I think. I'm Mix Super Lovin says just in time for Easter. Yeah, so I think Rolex agrees with you. It's just for ladies because they didn't make the bigger dial sizes for the lavender. And personally, I think the lavender is the best one out of these three. I would probably pick that one out of all of them. And I think it's a shame that they didn't do it in the bigger sizes, right? Maybe Rolex thinks, no men will be interested in the larger size lavender ones. But, I think it's interesting. I think it's a nice little color pop. So, yeah, let's move on to the next slide so we can see more in depth. But, yeah, you can see there the full size. That's what the pistachio, the lavender, and the beige looks like. Did I misspell lavender and beige? I did. Damn.
Oh
But yeah,
my
that's how it looks
goodness.
like in the case. Sorry, what was that?
I didn't. No, I'm just laughing.
So yeah, I mean, I think these are nice, right? It's a nice little color pop. Um, obviously the Oyster Perpetual is their entry level, so it has the round, what is it called? The smooth bezel. A lot of people say that they kind of look like a condom, unrolled, right? When you pull it out of the pack. So a lot of people are
Okay.
not really fans of it.
Who's saying all that?
Uh,
Where are you getting your
it's
sources from?
trust
What?
the people have said it has been said before in the
Okay.
history of the universe. It has been said, but yeah, I mean, this is again in the previous slide. It said that these are 5 to 6 grand depending on size and stuff like that. But this is a really entry level, and this is going to be the Rolex that is not too difficult to get into, right? If you want to buy one of these, you won't have to stay on the wait list forever, right? You can just kind of walk in and buy them within a month or two to build your spend. Um, some people are saying Rolex will. Mr. JKL says Rolex will start selling polo shirts with these dials as buttons. That's cool. Ricky says, not sure if this is a hot take, but I'm the only person who thinks that Rolex styles are boring. I think a lot of them are boring, but sometimes boring is good, right? Um, you know, Nobody walks into McDonald's and says McDonald's is boring. They like to have it be the same thing. Nick says can be for teens. Yeah, so some of these dials, I think all of these dials come in 28 mil as well. So it would be perfect. Sweet 16 gift maybe to your daughter. Or if your wife likes, a smaller sized watch, it'd be perfect gift. Or maybe she wants to buy one for herself, big promotion at work. She walks in and says, I want to ball out with a lavender rollie in 28 mil. So yeah, Andy says I wouldn't mind getting it for my wife though. So I think that's exactly what they're going for with this, and I think it makes sense. Yeah, anything you want to add on that, or should we go to the next?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I love the look of this. It's it's always good to have. It's always good to think about the people that are into like the entry level stuff. Like more things that are attainable. I don't see anything wrong with it. But now that the condom thing that you mentioned earlier, I definitely see it now. I definitely see it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Upon closer inspection. All right, let's move on to the next slide.
Yep. All right. So the 1908. So this was an already existing watch, but before it was only on the bracelet. Sorry, on the leather band, which you'll see in the next slide. But now they've released a version that comes with a gold bracelet. So I think the big thing here is that it's a new style bracelet called the Setimo, right? And it's a 7-link, so it has 2 kind of wider links at the end that taper in, and then 5 smaller links in the center. And this is quite nice. It's a small seconds model, and it's nice to see it on a gold bracelet. I think for people who want to get a gold bracelet, this is a big upgrade. Ricky says, I love my children, but none of them are getting rollies for their 16th birthday. Yeah, I think you need to be in a crazy tax bracket to be given rollies for a sweet 16. But I'm not in that tax bracket. I don't think you are either, Yuda. But one day, maybe. We hope so. So, yeah, I mean, anything you want to add on here, or should we go to the next slide?
Oh, the watch looks beautiful. 35K in gold. Like, Would you say
Yeah.
would you say it's like an outrageous price for a Rolex?
No, I don't think it's a crazy. I don't think it's a crazy price, and they're much more reasonable on the leather bands, right? So, if you're getting one on the leather the leather band, they're a little bit cheaper,
Yeah.
right?
There's a leather band is on the next slide, you said?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
let's move on to the
So
next slide and check that out. Okay.
yeah, so you're basically paying an extra 10 grand to get it on a leather band, right?
Mm.
Um, But this is one of they released this on that leather bands in the a couple of years ago with the exhibition case back. So it's a very dressy watch on the exhibition case back. Sorry, it's a very dressy watch on that leather band, and being able to see your movement, I think, is really nice. And this is if you've looked at any of the sort of standard Rolex movements, they're pretty Spartan, right? Because they're supposed to be tool watches. So this, with the exhibition case back on an all gold bracelet, it's kind of nice, right? I think it's the cheapest entry point you can get into a full gold watch, right? So yeah, the name of the bracelet is Setimo, and it's basically set up to seti more money into Rolex's bank account, right?
Good one. Good one, dude. I'm loving the
Yeah.
exhibition case back. Like I'm just so much of a fan of Rolex if they keep doing this. Just
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, if someone can just buy a steel watch, that it, if you buy this the Land Dweller with that open case back for 15K, well, give an example, right? Like a steel Datejust and a super clone steel Datejust are so close, and one of them is 10 grand, and the super clone is like 500, right? And they look, 95, 98% similar. Now with the exhibition case back, it's very easy to spot, and you can really see where your money's going into that really nice movement and that nicely finished movement, right? So I think, it makes sense, and they were really worried about the Chinese clone factories kind of eating their breakfast, and that's why I think we'll see more and more exhibition or skeletonized, maybe not skeletonized, but definitely see more exhibition case backs from Rolex in the future, I feel.
yeah, it's a good trend. It's a good trend to go towards.
Yeah. Ricky says, I couldn't pull off the full gold, however, the leather band I could. Well, the leather band one is still for sale, so you can buy the leather band one. Butters says, hi, Butters, welcome in. And I think Fairy Youth Yun is asking about the Casio A1200 World Time. So I think we'll get to that one later. So maybe ask it a little bit later in the stream. But I think we'll go to the next dial here, the next slide.
Okay.
So yeah, this is another one that got announced, which is a new ombre red dial Datejust, right? So it's about 50K in gold, and obviously with a diamond bezel, diamond dial. So yeah, I mean, not much to say here. I think we go to the next slide and we can talk a little bit more about what makes it interesting. So I think that this is kind of Rolex copying AP's homework, right? So AP have had this red ombre dial for a while, and it looks really nice, right, on AP. And I think this is Rolex saying, hey, we can do something like this as well. I think it's a bit of a miss having this the white date wheel there. I don't know what they were kind of thinking with that one there, but I think it's a beautiful. I think it's a beautiful dial. I think we should see more of these soon, right? I want to see Rolex do more of these ombre dials because I think they're really nice red ombre dials. So, although I think most of all, if I meet a lady wearing this, I know that I can't afford to talk to her, right?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I love the look of it. I mean, personally, I'm not a fan of diamonds, but I love the red color that they use. But I would say
Yeah.
I prefer the AP more.
Yeah, I think that the APs are more kind of unisex watch there, but I think we could see in the future Rolex dropping, a Datejust or some other watches with this ombre effect outside of the day-date range, etc., or with this without the diamond bezel. So this one is obviously giving off, it's a ladies sized model, and it's a ladies sized the layout too is a very ladies targeted for ladies. But I could see them doing watches targeted for men too in the future.
Yeah, it says Nick says in the chat, what's a PVD?
Yeah, so PVD is let me just bring it up on YouTube, because it's basically physical vapor deposition, right? So it's a manufacturing process to like coat and color stainless steel or titanium, right? So you coat it with another material. So that's how they managed to get this kind of effect that you wouldn't be able to do if you were just trying to paint it or whatever.
All right, let's move on to the next slide. It's a lot of Rolex news on this Watches and Wonders. Would you say it's a lot
there's
more
ton,
in comparison to the other Watches and Wonders over the years?
Yeah, I think this is their biggest kind of release that they've had, right? I mean, I don't remember much about 2024, but I think they're trying out a couple of new different things, especially too with that new movement in the Land Dweller. I think it's quite a bumper year for Rolex fans.
All right, yeah.
Andre Joachim says too much shiny, too much gold, too rap star. Yeah, I think this is kind of like a half bust down, right? This is for a more sophisticated, want something a little blingy, but doesn't want to go like a full bust down. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next slide here. Oh, you already done it. So yeah, here we have a gold Sky Dweller in green, right? And I put the title John Mayer for Mayor, right? So for a lot of people that don't know, a lot of the Rolex models that have this green and gold dial, people call it the John Mayer kind of color, and we'll see more on the next slide about what makes it cool. But yeah, so for those who don't really know, the Sky Jeweler is kind of interesting. It's one of the more, I think it's the most complex watch that Rolex offer, because it does the day and it does the month as well. Sorry, the date and the month. So on there, you see how it's 28. So that's obviously the 28th day. And then if you notice, just at the 8 o'clock, the indicator there for the month, it's red. So that's actually, yeah, it's telling us that it's the 8th month, right? And it goes around the dial up to, so at the night, if the 9 o'clock is red, then it's the 9th month, right? So I think it's an interesting way to kind of show off the month as well. And then that inner ring too also moves to show off the home time, right? So it's like a GMT function to show two different time zones, right? The normal hands would be the current time, and then that inner ring you can change it to show the home time. So yeah, we've had the Air King for a while. Sorry, not Air King, the Sky Dweller for a while. But I think this is the first time this is the first time we've seen it in green. I think the green and gold together is really nice. I guess in the chat, what do you guys think about this green and gold Sky Dweller? And Yuta, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I love I love how it shows like the date. That's it kind of reminds me, well, we were at a flea market and we found something kind of similar with one of the Orients, remember? Like a red block on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah, no, it definitely does kind of give off the same vibes as that. It's just a very interesting way to show it off, right? Without having to have like a very big month indicator somewhere on the dial. So yeah, Quashri says Rolex can pull off any complication, so this one is really nice. If you step out of a Bugatti, you can pull off anything. I think that's true. Andre says that model, especially in gold, is always available in boutiques because no one likes a poo on the wrist.
Damn.
Yeah, some people are not fans of the Sky Dweller, and I'm not a fan.
Complicated. Like there's a lot of complications on it, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that this is Rolex's most complicated, like current model. They've had other complicated models in the past that they got rid of, but I think they're quite nice, and I think the combo of the colors works really well. Maybe next year we'll see a bottom dweller with a brown dial. Yeah, that'll be a little too poopy. Yeah. Anyway, I think we move on to the next next slide, unless you've got something else you want to say about.
No, let's move on.
So yeah, we got two new Daytonas, Cosmograph Daytonas, the Tiffany one and the Meteorite one here. So these ones are about 40K, 40 to 50K. I think the Meteorite one will be more expensive, but I couldn't find any sort of super specific pricing. But yeah, both of these are on the Oyster Flex strap, which means that you get a rubber strap with it. And yeah, go to the next slide, please. I think the most interesting thing with the Oyster Flex is when you hold it in person, it kind of breaks your brain because you have like a 200 plus gram watch in your hand, but all of the weight is on the actual case. The bracelet is all rubber, so it just feels really heavy on the actual case, but nowhere else. But we got a few different colorways here. And it's really just more of the same, but I think a little bit better, especially with the Meteorite ones. I think with the Tiffany kind of one, I'm not really sure what it's for and who it's trying to appeal to. Are they trying to get ladies who like complicated watches in precious metal that also like, Tiffany blue? Like, I'm just kind of curious who this watch is for. And then I put the comment like, maybe this is for when you need to match you need your watch to match your Daytona to your wife's Tiffany blue Birkin, or like maybe for the ladies who have a Tiffany blue, like some Tiffany jewelry on the right, on the left wrist, and their watch on the right wrist or something. I don't know. So yeah, I'm just a little confused who this is for. I don't want to call it a shitter outright, but I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about the Tiffany blue one?
I mean, yeah, I'm always a fan of the Tiffany blues, but I don't think I like this model in particular. I don't know if it really matches the gold.
Yeah,
it's an odd combo.
It's a bit of an odd combo. What about the Meteorite ones there? What do you think about that?
I like the Meteorite one. I think that one's nice. It matches the whole color scheme, like even down to the bracelet. But he said it's a 200K.
No, I think most of these are 50K. I think
50K,
the Meteorite ones will probably be 80 to 100, maybe something like that. I think the white gold one, the white gold Meteorite one there is just an absolute stunner.
Yeah, I do like that one the most.
Yeah, I think they really, really did a good job on that one. And for people, I think for the rose gold and yellow gold one are also pretty nice. But yeah, I think the Meteorite one is a standout for me. So yeah, there's also some other ones there on the left that they also announced. It's kind of more of the same. Again, a kind of a John Mayer looking one. But yeah, I think that some decent releases there. Comes down to personal preference for a lot of them, but not a big fan of the Tiffany one.
Yep. All right, let's move
on.
on.
Yeah. So
finally, we're done with the Rolexes. A lot of Rolex news. Now we're at the Grand Seiko.
Yeah, I think for me, these were the two biggest brands to look at, right? Like Rolex and Grand Seiko. So Quashri says, I like the Tiffany, but I'm not a lady. Sage, on the beach or on my yacht. Yeah, look, I do think it has a space, but I think it's definitely targeted more towards ladies than men. But I do like Tiffany blue as well. But yeah, anyway, on to Grand Seiko. So we got four big kind of news here. So we got the ultra fine adjusted, which is a VFA throwback, which I'll go into. We got two new tentographs. We got a new Masterpiece Collection watch and a new 44GS cased purple Mount Iwate.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, no, it's quite nice. Yeah, have you ever been there?
I have not, no.
Maybe we have to do a video, climbing up all of the Grand Seiko like motifs and stuff,
Maybe they'll let us borrow that particular watch. I mean, climb Mount Iwate with it.
Yeah, taking a Mount Iwate to the top of Mount Iwate. That's the thing. Yeah, so let's jump on the next slide, and we have here two new ultra fine adjusted is what they're calling it. So in titanium it's around 11 grand, and then in platinum it's 39 grand. But yeah, these are basically the same dialed finishing, but two different case materials. and the platinum one is a little bit of a darker blue. So if we jump onto the next slide, we'd be able to see some
Okay.
useful information. So very fine, the ultra fine adjusted. Where did the words ultra fine adjusted come from? In the 70s, we had what was called the very fine adjusted models, right? So this is a continuation of that. And essentially, what it means is that, when they're making materials and when they're making watches, right? The reason why we have tolerances and the reason why we have like plus minus X amount of time, plus minus 10 seconds a month, 5 seconds a month, or whatever, is due to binning, right? So the binning is essentially, you'll have some watches that are literally perfect and you'll have other ones that are not so perfect, right? And so those ones you either scrap them or you reduce the tolerance, right? For these ones, these ultra fine accuracy or ultra fine adjusted ones means that they're at the top of that process. So basically, the current spring drive models, for example, the 9R65 that you see in like most of your Shumbun, all of your other popular spring drive models, they are plus minus 15 seconds a month. And then this one, the ultra fine accuracy, ultra fine adjusted, 20 seconds a year. So yeah, it's insane, right? So this means that obviously some days you'll gain, some days you'll lose, but pretty much without adjusting your watch, it'll be within 20 seconds a year, which is insane.
Are they gonna? Do you think that they'll use this on their other watches in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I could see like an updated Shumbun coming out with this movement.
I feel like that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's their most popular watch, right? Like we could see a Shumbun version 2. And so the other interesting thing, the other two things that everyone was asking for is move that damn power reserve to the back, right? So if you see on the bottom there, the movement shot, they moved the power reserve indicator to the back. And the other thing that everyone complains about Grand Seiko is the bracelets, right? A lot of people have been saying, the Grand Seiko bracelets without micro adjusts are shitters. But maybe now that we have a micro adjust on the bracelet, people will be much more happier about the bracelet.
Man,
I guess in the chat, what do you guys think about now we've got Grand Seiko with the power reserve on the back and a micro adjust bracelet finally after years?
This is crazy though. Like I would like to see like a very in-depth video on how this works, like what the technology that they use and what's like the biggest difference between the current spring drives. Like what do they change?
Yeah, I think we'll get more information over time because I mean, going from 15 seconds a month to years. The thing too is like, when you talk about plus minus X amount in a year, like you're usually talking about quartz, right? And they've managed to do this with a mechanical watch. So this to me feels like, the final evolution of the spring drive. Unfortunately, the creator of the spring drive passed away quite,
Oh, really?
close to after its release. Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, I was not able to see this, but this to me feels like a culmination of his life's work, right?
That's amazing.
Being able to have.
Did Teddy Bvlgari have a video on the new Grand Seiko?
Yeah, I think he did release it. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
I haven't had a chance to watch it either. Yeah, I mean, like, Von Kroll says, holy shit, they're blowing my mind with their new claps. They really did it. I think everyone was begging for this, right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really get it because I didn't have any micro adjust watches until I got gifted the Pepsi from my dad. And then when I adjusted the bracelet on that, I adjusted it a little bit loose because I like it like that. In summer, your wrist tends to expand. But now I'm like, I need to readjust it again because I've gone through summer and winter. And I kind of get it now, like why a micro adjust is so useful, right? Sometimes you need that extra 0.5 millimeters in watches and also in life, right? Sometimes I need an extra half a mil.
Poetic.
Yeah. So Mr. JKL says, now we are talking a real timepiece for a real watch enthusiast. Readily available if you want to own one. Grand Seiko. I bought the SBGA 407 a couple months ago in Ginza GS Boutique. Love Japan. Super Lovin says, Teddy's video is pretty informative. Do we actually need that accuracy? I think for an everyday watch, right? Like for me, I rotate across many watches, but I could see like if you're an engineer from Silicon Valley or you know, like a decent paid professional, you're looking for your first like general, or you know, a watch that you want to wear a lot, that's also mechanical. You know, this could be for you, right? And then you don't have to worry about the accuracy so much. So yeah, so what do you anything else you want to add on this one?
No,
Any other
I'm
questions?
very excited to you know, see more about this. I need to go watch some videos about it. But man, I'm loving I really like the clasp here with the logo. It's such a clean
Yeah,
look. And it feels like you know, Grand Seiko's finally listening to what people's been asking for. But I guess
yeah,
it takes time, you
definitely.
know. I guess it takes time.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's a big step in the right direction for Grand Seiko.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's take a look at the next slide, which you know, has some new releases. This one is Tentograph times 2.
Mm.
So we essentially got 2 new Tentographs announced, right? The first one is the titanium. They're calling it the Tokyo Lion, and then the second one there, which is the titanium Mount Iwate. So that's just the dial pattern, what it's like. So if we jump into the next slide, we'll be able to see a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah,
You know,
Tokyo Line, I'm assuming that's like a call out to Ginza.
so it's just the pattern that they've used.
Okay.
They call it the Tokyo Line. So you'll see why in the next slide,
Okay.
because it really kind of
Oh yeah,
and
that's
then
more of a
so he yeah. So when you see very close, you can see the dial there has a kind of like lion's mane fur, and then on the bracelet too, they put like a lion's paw print, right?
oh, what is
Because you
this
know,
is interesting. Can you explain what a tentograph is? I'm sorry, I don't know what that is.
yeah. So I think there's not much more difference than a chronograph, right? So it's maybe just Seiko's word for a chronograph.
I see.
Let me see if Google has anything like that explains what the difference is between a tentograph and a chronograph, but I think it's just their word they use. Tentograph is a high-beat automatic chronograph, while chronograph is a general term for watch with a stopwatch function. The tentograph is a specific type of chronograph distinguished by its 10 beat per second movement. Okay, so it's just their high beat is what they're saying. So it's a high beat plus chronograph essentially.
Yeah, this looks
Um,
phenomenal, man. I love the look of this. This is more on the bulkier side. I know I know a lot of people just like the shimbuns and stuff, but look at the back of that the tentograph here.
yeah, I mean, you know, I think Grand Seiko is the brand that's really mastered all 3 types of movements, right? They've got their high accuracy quartz. They have their mechanical movements, and they also have their spring drives, right? And you know, no one will look at like a Grand Seiko quartz and say that's a shitter. No one can look at a mechanical and say that's a shitter, and nobody can look at their spring drives and say that's a shitter, right? They've mastered all 3 movement types, I think. So yeah, I think it's really nice. I think it's like the Mountain Latte one they have. It's like a panda with the Easter egg, right? With the dial being you know, having that Mount Iwate pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just a straight white and black panda. It's like a silver panda with a really nice pattern dial. And yeah, I think, you know, with these two, like I could lose myself looking at either of these dials, and that's the same for almost every Grand Seiko movement. So yeah, anything you want to add on that, or
No, is that all the Grand Seiko releases?
no, there's 2 more.
Okay.
So the next one
Whoa, what is
we have here.
this? What is
I won't.
this? Seiko, what is
Yeah,
happening? Who is this for?
yeah, I won't speak too much on this. It's a bust down. It's from their masterpiece collection, and it's
Imagine if we
basically
did street interviews and we found someone with this. That'd be a crazy video.
yeah. So this one's $320,000, and it's platinum and 650 diamonds.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yeah, this does exist for people out there. I'm gonna take a guess. This might be more for like the Chinese market than
Okay.
you know, the Japanese market, because I don't think we'll ever find a Japanese person who wants to wear that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, this is more them showing their abilities in gem setting, right? Than it is so much watchmaking. So I mean, jump to the next slide. We can talk a little bit more about it, but I mean, it's interesting to see. Would I wear one? I don't think so, right? But in the next slide, I break down. By 10 beat, they just mean 5 hertz, I suppose. Yeah, that's what the tense graph is.
It is a spring. This is still a spring drive, yeah.
Yeah. We'll go to the next slide for me. So yeah, so it's part of the masterpiece collection. I say for that price, it better be masterpiece, right? So yeah, it's 8 days manual wind, and then it has a 650 gems a set, and you can see there when it's side on, it has like a 3D set effect, right? So it has the gem set in the chapter ring on the dial, and then on the bezels. So it does create an interesting kind of 3D effect. And then interestingly enough, the movement's bridge is in the shape of Mount Fuji. So yeah, isn't that cool? Nice little Easter egg for. Yeah, so Mr. JKL says, I would add this Lion King to my collection. I'm heading back to Japan in 3 months. Can't wait. Sounds awesome. Nutless Girl says, only those who do it every day, bro, can wear it. So, yeah, interesting. But yeah, not much to say on this. Did you have anything else you want to?
I mean, impressive gem setting, but everything else, I just don't think. I would like to see it in person. Maybe. Do you think they'll have this at the Grand Seiko store in Ginza on display?
I think if we ask nicely, we can definitely convince them.
Let's ask Mr. Seiko to have access.
Yeah, I think that might be tough because I think he's been gone for about 100 years now.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like if I were to wear this, it'd be like a Egyptian curse. Like, I'm just cursed forever. I wore this watch. But yeah, it looks awesome. It looks awesome. I mean, I wouldn't wear it myself, but let's move on to the next slide, eh?
Yeah, definitely. So, next one here is the 44GS, the purple Mount Iwate. So it's about 5.6K. And this is just part of their kind of standard range, so more kind of entry level watch than a lot of the other ones that they displayed. So yeah, I mean, jump onto the next slide and we can see it a little bit more in depth. But
this is such a nice looking watch.
Yeah, it's a really nice watch. It's stainless steel. It's a manual wind, 4 hertz movement. So still beats reasonable, but it's not part of their high beat range. And it has a smaller case. So they say it's 36.5 mil, Zaratsu polishing. And I honestly think, this is one of the nicer ones you can buy, in a more reasonable price range, right? 5.6K is not insane, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think most people who, are paid pretty reasonable salaries could work towards this and own one. And I think this is a nicer version of the Oyster Perpetuals that we saw earlier. Is that crazy to say?
It's not crazy. I think you're right on that. Just look at the texture on that dial, man.
Yeah,
that's why I love Grand Seikos. Like, even though I don't own one, just looking at it from afar, you can still appreciate it.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, I think for a lot of people, who are thinking about getting that lavender Oyster Perpetual, I think this is for a person who's a little more advanced. I would say, dare I say, this is for the watch enthusiast. The person who's more advanced would put their money towards, as an enthusiast, would put their money towards this over the lavender Oyster Perpetual. Am I crazy for that, Chad?
Super 11 says, and it doesn't look like a condom. That is true.
That is true. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the lavender OP, but better in every way, and cheaper.
Yep.
All right, next one. So that's all for Grand Seiko. But
okay, so can you can you give it a rating? Like, what do you think about this year's Grand Seiko out of 10? Out of 10 Grand Seikos, how would you rate it?
I'd give it like an 8 or a 9. I don't think that this is the final form of what they're showing, right? I think we'll get like the UFA technologically is just such a leap in the future. I'm excited to what they do with it. To be honest, I was going to say it at the end, but I think the dials are a bit mid on the UFAs that they released. But the technology is so good. I think we'll get better dials on
Mhm.
that UFA in the future, right?
Yeah, Dean says
So I think
8.
it's
Yeah, 8's a solid number for what they did.
yeah. I identify that as not crazy. Yeah. Um. Anyway, yeah. Anything else, or shall we talk about Tudor?
Yeah, already on that slide actually. Sorry for leaking
Yeah.
it.
Oh no. Awesome. Yeah. So I grabbed this infographic from WristCheck. A lot of the other ones, I'm going to kind of group them a little bit. But yeah, this is all of the new announcements that they did. So we'll jump to the next slide and we can talk about the Black Bay 58 and 68. So these are about 4 to 5 grand each. So we got a full kind of red, aka burgundy, Black Bay 58, and then we got a Black Bay 68 with a white dial and then with a blue dial. So yeah, I mean 4 to 5 grand. It's a Tudor, right? It's like a cheaper, more reasonably priced Rolex with a little bit of different design cues, but a little bit of similar ones.
Correct me if
But yeah,
I'm
I mean, I
wrong.
think
Correct
this.
me if I'm wrong, but is Tudor is under the same branch as Rolex? It's like a more entry level.
Yeah, exactly. So some people say this is the poor man's Rolex. I think a better way to look at it is not, this is a poor man's Rolex. I think this is, for somebody who wants a really nice watch, but doesn't want to stand out too much. Wants to keep it a little bit low key, or just thinks, I don't really want to pay that much premium. Buying like a Submariner or something like that. Um, you know, when I think it's more of a 3 to 4K watch, these are priced more kind of reasonably, or to what is kind of a fair price for a watch. Um, I think the BB Burgundy is one of the best new releases of this year. Why no GMT colors from Tudor? Well, Mr. Bob's Nightmare, you're gonna love our next slide then.
All right, let's go on to the next slide.
Yeah, because we have the Black
Ooh,
Bay Pro, aka the Explorer 2, right?
nice.
So these are 4 to 4.3K. Obviously, it's more expensive on the bracelet, but this is basically the white Explorer 2, right? It's almost exactly the same. This is basically Rolex making kind of a homage of their own watch, right? Because it looks very, very kind of similar to the Explorer 2. Um, but yeah, it's got the yellow GMT, the date. Obviously the normal Explorer 2 has a orange hand, but yeah, I mean, I think this is quite nice, and this is basically a very reasonable way to get into a GMT Swiss high-end watch, luxury watch for a lot cheaper than buying an Explorer or a Rolex. What do you think about this?
We have a Rolex. We have a Rolex Explorer at home. I think it looks nice. I love the look of it. More affordable.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's great, right? Um, you know, this is the Rolex that you can beat up, right? You don't have to worry too much about resale prices on this one.
Yeah, Tim says oddly Rolex was more adventurous than Tudor this year.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. A lot of people see like Tudor as Rolex's test bed, right, where they can try out new stuff without having to worry about it affecting their main brand image. But yeah, this year, it's across the board. Tudor is just more of the same, whereas Rolex has dropped some kind of crazy different stuff, right? But yeah, I think Rolex should do some more exploration in Tudor, right? Like, can we get a skeleton dial in a Tudor? Can we get a bunch of different like maybe like a lapis lazuli dial, right? Just trying out some different stuff in Tudor without affecting the Rolex brand. But anyway, obviously, I think they know what they're doing, right? They're the biggest watch brand in the world for a reason. But yeah, I guess let's jump onto the next slide and.
Black Bay Chrono.
Yeah, so this is it's just a Panda chronograph, right? And that's why it's more expensive. It's about 5.8 grand instead of the 4.5, 5 grand that we've seen. But yeah, I mean, it's a very kind of reasonable Panda Daytona, right? That's easier to buy because you can walk. I wouldn't say you can walk in and buy it, but it's a lot easier to get a Tudor Panda than it is to get a Rolex Daytona Panda, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah. Tudor needs to expand on case options. They have too many slab slider cases across their range. May says, "Damn, they made a cheaper Panda." Yeah, I mean kind of the way to see it, right? It's cheaper Panda, essentially. Not that that's a bad thing. You know, the Panda's so nice, I had to do it twice. That's probably what Rolex is thinking right now.
Yep.
But yeah. All right, I think we're done on Tudor. Let's hop into the next one. So
There are things that are just out of worldly, just not attainable.
Yeah.
To most people.
Yeah, exactly. So Bvlgari, you know, they released the world's thinnest tourbillon, which is a crazy achievement, and a new Serpenti style. I think are the two big things people were talking about. So if we go to the next next
wasn't
slide, we'll
Zuckerberg
be able
wearing this one?
Yeah, he was wearing. I don't know if he was wearing this one specifically yet.
Oh my god,
but,
it's so thin.
Yeah. So the Octo Finissimo Ultra is like their super thin range, right? So yeah, this one is slightly thicker than the world's thinnest watch. So they had the world's thinnest watch for a while, and now they're like, basically, they said to their watchmakers, it's really thin, but what if it was a tourbillon? And they released, you know, this one with the world's thinnest tourbillon. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy, right? There's not much to say, and it's also crazily priced, 678 grand.
Yeah, it's. I don't think it's really meant for the everyday person. You know, it's still really cool, and like just the engineering and the craftsmanship to even get something this small is incredible. I wonder if you were to really try, could you bend it, even though it's titanium?
It's titanium, bro.
Do you think it's
if
possible?
you do, I wonder what the repair bill would be. That's my question.
That's for a YouTube video. Yeah.
Trying to do that would be a crazy video. Trying to bend the world's thinnest watch.
Yeah. What's the accuracy on that watch? I don't know. That's a good question.
It's probably COSC certified, so like, you know, +2, -5 kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, next one.
Ooh.
The Lange und Sohne, right? German watchmaking at its finest. They announced a few new watches here that are interesting. 1815, white gold, pink gold. You know, that's their kind of cheap entry-level watch, not so cheap. And then they have a minute repeater perpetual platinum that they announced, and a Odysseus in honey gold. So if we go to the next slide, we'll be able to see.
This is beautiful.
Yeah. So this is a, like I said, it's a minute repeater. It's perpetual and it's platinum, right? So it's 600 to 700K, 50 pieces, limited in platinum. And in the next slide, I kind of break down the complications a bit, but yeah, I think this is, you know, Lange saying to Patek, hey, you know, I'm gonna eat your lunch, little bro, right? Because so far, you know, Patek is really the only one who's doing these super high complications at any sort of you know, mass production, right? So I think this is Lange gearing up to, you know, make these kind of crazy complications, multiple complication watches. So jump into the next slide and let's see it more in depth.
Ooh. 50 pieces is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's one thing to make like a super complicated watch like this and do like 1 piece, 5 piece, 10 pieces. But 50, you know, is a fair bit of that. That's like you're actually producing it, you know, at scale, right? So yeah, Dean Dixon says, I can't wait for the Bvlgari pre-owned. Someone can absorb the depreciation. Butter says, I'm drooling. Lee Good says, time to plan a heist. Ricky says, Germans make a nice watch. I really want a Nomos. Dean Dixon says, number 1. Dr. Bob says, did they already cover JLC? No, we covered JLC later. But yeah, so like I said, platinum case, 50 pieces, a minute repeater. What that means is you press a button and then it will tell you the time via sound, right? So it uses the 2 chimes. So big chime tells you the hours. The small and big chime together tells you how many 15 minutes. And then a small chime then tells you the remaining minutes, right? So, you know, if it's 3:15, the big chime will chime 3 times for 3 o'clock. And then the 15 minutes, or let's say 16 minutes, it'll chime the big and small chime together once for 15 minutes. And then it'll chime once more with the small chime for the last one, right? So even if you're in a cave, if you're a cave diver and you get stuck in the cave and you want to know the time without your flashlight, you can tell the time using the minute repeater. Is that
Also,
actually useful? Not really.
if you're in a cave with this watch, you kind of deserve to just be stuck there for eternity. I'm sorry. There's no way.
Exactly. Yeah. So apart from that, it's a black enamel dial. So enamel dials are really hard to do because you're basically if you make a little mistake, you have to redo the whole dial, right? And then the big date wheel, the top there, see it's got 25. It's basically two date wheels together. So it's hard to get those two to correctly show the date, right? And then it's a perpetual calendar moon phase, right? So it knows how long each month is, and it knows whether or not it's in a leap year. So it will show, it's not going to freak out on February 29th, right? It's going to be able to show those correctly. So yeah, I mean, really cool and very expensive, right? 672K. Sorry, they reckon it'll be 6 to 700K. And yeah, if you can afford this, please, if you can afford this piece, please just let me hold $1. Just a little dollar. Let me hold it, please.
We're begging.
I'm begging. Just a little dollar. Just let me borrow it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next slide. Wow, that's such an amazing looking watch.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So yeah, the honey gold Odysseus. It's got me drooling, right? And yeah, I mean, it's very cool, right? It's about 100K, they reckon, or maybe a little more than 100K. Small seconds, big date, day of the week as well. I think this honey gold tone is just awesome, right? It's kind of like a bronze gold kind of looking thing, and I think they killed it with the dial and stuff. But if we hop onto the next slide, we see some more information, and we get to see the case back as well.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, this is like a very nice looking watch. There's no other way to put it. Right?
It's amazing. Look at the back. I like the little red on the 60 top here. Nice little touch of red.
Yeah, no, I think it's beautiful, right? There's not much more to say, but I think Lange are killing it. And I think, is it crazy to say that 10, 20, 30 years from now, people will see, Lange as good as Patek? It could be, right? It could be. Or maybe they'll see it as a better buy for complicated watches, right? So who knows?
Patek has a few releases for this event.
Yeah, we go to the Pateks later, so
right, cool.
We'll get to Patek and VC. But yeah, next slide we talk about JLC.
Oh yeah, JLC. Here we are.
Yeah, so I think JLC, the big things to talk about are the they have two new insane models, but the ones that are more realistic, the new duo face and mono faces. So let's jump to the next slide. So they have two new insane models that they wanted to show off. So last year, I think they showed off the Helio Tourbillon last year, which is crazy.
Jesus.
But yeah, I mean, it's 565K. It's a white gold gyro tourbillon. I forgot to put it in, but that one's 10 pieces. So
it's only 10 pieces for this, the gyro tourbillon.
Yeah,
okay.
For the gyro tourbillon, and then the rose gold minute repeater is 30 pieces. So yeah, I mean, they're insane, right? There's no other way to put it. But people forget that JLC can make some absolutely crazy watches. Yeah. Ricky asked, what's the purity of the honey gold 22K? I'd probably say it's 22K as well. Dean Dixon says, which organs that you have two but can live without one? Asking for a friend. Yeah, I think to afford this, you need to sell both kidneys and a liver.
All right, who's offering? If everyone in chat chips in their organs, maybe you can afford one of these.
Yeah, exactly, right? Lee God says, I call dibs on Dean's extra organs. Yeah. Anyway, let's jump to the next. I think it's no use talking about 500 grand watches because these ones are the more realistic ones. So they released two new duo faces in 13K for 13 grand. So I think it's a little bit overpriced, but it's not insane, right? You're looking at this as like, do I buy the Land Dweller or do I buy these stainless steel duo faces? And I feel like the duo face might be a better buy, right? And then the rose gold next to it in 41K has an interesting dial. So these are quite nice releases. And then we'll go to the next.
Reverse attribute geographic world timer.
Yeah. So there's one in stainless steel for 21K, and one in rose gold for 35K, right? So the front face, for those who don't know, reverso, you pull it out and you can reverse it to get access to a second face, right? That's what the complication is. But yeah, on the front you get a big date, so 2 date wheels, small seconds, and then on the back you get a world timer. So it's quite a nice. It's a niche complication, but it's quite a nice complication, right? Especially in so small of a package. So yeah, Tim Cheeseman says, would a display case back defeat the purpose of the monoface? I don't think so. And then Lee God says, how long do these watches last a lifetime? At this price, it better last a lifetime, right? But yeah, anyway, anything you want to add on this, or anything you want to talk about with these?
No, not really. I love. I think it was a pretty solid drop of new watches from JLC.
Yeah.
The first one, man, first one was insane.
Yeah, I think they've got a solid lineup, and they're showing that they're able to do high complications and also release watches for, I won't say the masses, but for the masses who have money, right?
Yeah, but it's so tiny, like the cases, the JLCs are usually a lot more smaller than your other watches. So the fact that they can put all that in such a it's incredible.
Yeah, I think the kind of square watch fight is really between JLC and Cartier. So,
Yeah,
but I think
hopefully we find someone in Ginza wearing it.
Yeah, well, we did get one really nice JLC on the channel. I'd love to see more. But let's go to the next slide and talk about IWC's new releases.
Ooh, okay, nice.
Yeah, so I didn't go too in depth into this one, but it's the Ingenia. 3 new kind of main ones. One in ceramic. So I think there are a lot of fans of ceramic watches because they're really durable in terms of scratch resistance. You can shatter them if you bang them really hard, but I think it's a really nice, like, everyday kind of watch. They also showed off their perpetual calendar one in the middle there. So again, it just tells it knows how long each month is. So it'll always show the correct day, date, month, and it knows whether or not a leap year, right? And then last is a rose gold Ingenia with a black dial. I think these are really nice. I think these are really nice. I mean, there's not much to say, it's just a solid release, right, across the.
Yeah, let's move on to the next slide.
Yes, the next one is Parmigiana Fleurier. More of the same kind of awesomeness that they were showing off. I think the big kind of news here is that one right in the middle, the Toric QP Golden Hour, right? It's a perpetual calendar for them. So I think this is a big step in the right direction, and them showing that they're able to do complications, like a perpetual calendar complication.
How do you read the time on the top left? Is that?
That's a good question. That's why it's called mystery use, right?
What is that?
No idea. I have no idea. I didn't look into that one too much,
Okay.
but it looks really nice, right? It's like a guilloche kind of pattern. So yeah.
That is very odd.
Yeah. So I'm not going to talk about the 35. I'm not sure which one is the 35. You'd have to put more information, but yeah, I think we're going to move on to the next slide and talk about Piaget's release. So Piaget here are showing off, kind of more of the same and a little bit back to their roots, right? So they have here the Hidden Treasures cuff watch with a white gold and opal dial, and another one with pink gold and green enamel dial, and then a Polo 79 in white gold. So yeah, I think Piaget. A lot of people have been getting into vintage precious stone dials, so this is them trying to bring it back a little bit, right? And then they've got their own version of the Rainbow Daytona there with the rainbow gemstones. I wouldn't be wearing that, but some people might like it.
All right, pretty cool.
But yeah, apparently, Whereas Will today says that the Parmigiana Fleurier, the reason why you can't read that dial, if you scroll back up 2 slides to the Parmigiana Fleurier, the reason why you can't read that dial is because it's a minute repeater. So you got to press the button and then it tells you the time.
Oh, okay.
That's how they've done it. But yeah, so Cartier, right? I think the 2 things that jump out to me here is they've got that crazy Panther there with like a tiger style dial.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah, I think you know, if you're you know, I think if you're like it's kind of like a watch for maybe a middle-aged lady who likes who considers herself a bit of a cougar and wears like a
Okay.
tiger
All
tiger
right.
tiger
Keep
leopard print
going.
dress,
Keep
you know,
going.
to college bars. That's the perfect kind of watch for her, right? Am I wrong for that? Am I crazy for that?
Nah.
Can you visualize what I'm saying?
I visualize it, yes.
And then yeah, right next to it too, you know, you've got two kind of bust down looking factory set diamonds, and then an actual panther like you know, wristwatch kind of like more like a bangle that turns into a watch, right? And then on the right hand side, they've got you know, if you remember the main ex Nico Leonard like jump hour, they've got their own
Yeah.
version of that, a
Who
knockoff.
copied who?
Yeah, who was copying whose home? Yeah, yeah. Uh, Lee Good says the ones on the right side, how do you even read them at a glance? They're actually, I'd say, easier to read these than a normal watch because it just, you can see there it says 10 and then 10, right? So it's 10 past 10.
Hmm.
It's 10 p.m. or a.m. and 10 minutes. So yeah, I think they're quite easy to read, to be honest. Um, the jump out will fly out of the AD, take my money. Yeah, I think they're nice, right? It's a nicer version of the main kind of jump out ones. So I think they're cool, and it's available in yellow gold, rose gold, and anyway, let's jump to the next one and talk a bit about Vacheron Constantin.
All right, Vacheron.
So yeah, on the right there, Vacheron Constantin came out of the gate swinging
Oh
with
wow.
their ultra complications. So it has 41 complications. 6 of them are for time, 8 for a Gregorian perpetual calendar, 3 lunar indicators, 14 astronomical indicators, 5 chiming functions, a split
God.
seconds chronograph, 2 column wheels, and then a power reserve. So yeah, I mean, you know, this is Vacheron basically telling Daddy Patek that they ain't shit, right?
Hmm.
And that they can do these ultra complicated watches too. So this is them just going for a record, right? So if we go to the next slide, we'll be able to see a bit more in depth. Like I said, 41 complications, the most complex ever, and they use the front and the back dials to show all those 41 complications.
Wow. That's beautiful.
So yeah, it's beautiful and it's really cool because it's very complex. Um, how much will it cost? You know, if you have to ask, you can't afford it, right? So this
Yeah.
will be like a
How many
two,
are
three
being
million
made? Do you
dollar.
know?
Probably just one, maybe 1 to 10. I didn't see anything in the
Yeah, it seems
article,
like a
but yeah.
flex more than anything, right?
Yeah, exactly. Probably just go straight into their museum, right? So just them saying we can make something crazy and then we don't actually see.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, on to the next slide. They released a trio of open faces here. So this is a bit different from their normal ones. They've got a tourbillon, which the price was listed as ask, and a complete calendar for 70K and a retrograde perpetual calendar for 107K, right? So I think this is a nice, interesting way to do a open face while still being very legible. So you know, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool on this one, and I like to see VC trying something new. And then the next slide, we'll see some more interesting stuff. So this is a trio of patrimony and traditionals that they were trying to sell as well. So it's between 30 and 70K depending on the complications of material. I think the big news here is that they've done this kind of cross on the dial, right? Because they have you know, a cross as their motif,
Yeah.
right? The question is it? I think it's cool, but is it cool or is the cross cheesy, right? That's the question. I think we'll find out soon when more people start talking about it. But yeah, it's interesting, but it does, you know, create a very unsymmetrical dial, right? All right, and we'll go. I think that's the end for VC. Let's jump into
All right, Patek, Daddy Patek is here.
yeah, Daddy Patek is here. We've got new Noiselesses,
Nice.
you know, white gold for the ladies. A very crazy gem set one, new 24s, and the new Cubitus, which I think is what most people will be talking about, right? In the next slide, I'll talk about the new ladies. I think this is a killer release for the ladies, right? You get this kind of wave dial. It's white gold. On the strap, it's 40K. On the bracelets, 58K. diamond set across the board, and then they have a full kind of bust down factory set one. Again, they didn't list the price, but white gold with diamonds. I think the ladies are eating good, right? The bust downs are alive. And I think people are willing to pay for these kind of bust down watches, right, for the factory set. But yeah, I mean, what do you think on this? I think both of them are really nice. All three of them are really nice to be.
Yeah, they're great. Loving the strap on the first one, the blue strap here. Very interesting looking.
I think it's a really, really nice blue.
Yeah, I mean, nothing to add on that.
Yeah. Cool. All right, and then the next slide here, the Cubitus now in 40 millimeters in white gold and rose gold for 73K. The most controversial the most controversial watch of the year. And just remember, if you don't like it, you are broke, according to the CEO of Patek, right? Yeah, I mean, I think Maine did it better, right? I think the Maine men like it, right? Yeah. Any thoughts on the Cubitus, Yuda? I think it's our first time talking about it on camera.
Yeah, I mean, not really familiar with this. I think I did hear about the person saying that you were broke. I did remember seeing that. I don't know. I it's not something that I'm really interested in, but I love the look of the back.
Yeah, I mean, look,
not a fan of the price tag, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Protector, really crazy. I think it's weird because they were kind of thinking that this is going to be their entry level watch, but now it's just priced like crazy in white gold and rose gold. So I don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, let's go to the next slide, which is the last one. And we got two new releases from Ressence, Type 7 in night blue titanium and aquamarine. So a lot of people don't know, but these are oil-filled watches that the dials kind of rotate around throughout the day. So they're really, really cool. I think they're really, really cool, and they're very expensive too. And actually, I have to go to the toilet quickly, but if you want to, keep talking about it and anything else with the chat, go ahead.
Sure. Hello, welcome in. That was a lot of watches we just went through. Am I lagging? Is the stream lagging? I don't think the stream is lagging. I think everything's fine. Looks fine on my end. Yeah, we want to do so the point of the stream is that since we do mostly weekly releases, like on the weekend, we want to kind of fill in the gap because it's a week is very long. So we figured these streams would be pretty cool. We're gonna do, I think next week we're gonna maybe talk a little bit more of watches and wonders because there's gonna be more stuff coming out, but I'm gonna mainly focus on the new Casio stuff that's coming out. Oil time to evade. Stream is lagging? Is it? I wonder in what way. Frames. It could just be the YouTube server. I don't know. I heard human trafficking is in. You've been on here weekly? No, this is the first. We did a stream a few days ago, and then Kudi was here, but I accidentally deleted it. I accidentally deleted that stream, so it just doesn't exist anymore. So this is our very first official stream.
Yeah. And I think the quality is a lot better, thankfully.
Oil filled. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's oil filled, so that's how it kind of looks like an Apple Watch, right?
Yeah, I've seen some footage on this. It looks really cool, when you see it in person.
Yeah, it reflects light like crazy, so that's how it gives that kind of massive dial effect.
Wait, so if you were to break it, would oil come out?
Yeah, I think so, right? If you bang the, I wonder if they're using two sapphire crystals, so one for the front and then one behind it that holds the oil or something.
Yeah,
so it won't leak oil. But I imagine you could bang it up really bad and then the oil would come.
Yeah, a live stream about more affordable releases would be appreciated. Yeah, I think this time around it's just it's a big announcement. So
yeah, it's watches and wonders, but next week's live stream we'll be doing a roundup on all of the new releases for Casio, Seiko, Orient, etc. for April, right? Because they have a bunch of new releases. So that one will be really nice too. It'll be another one. Watch Wednesday, next Wednesday, and yeah, we'll talk about all the releases. They're already live, so you can see some of those. But I think, do you want to hop onto the tier maker and we can talk about we can chuck up which ones we think are hitters and shit.
Oh wait, that was it. We're done with the
Yeah.
presentation. Nice. Thank you so much for making this. Is
No
my
worries,
audio
yeah.
choppy to you at all? Just making sure. My voice is fine, right? I don't know. I would sometimes kick.
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
Audio is choppy.
Audio is
my audio or everything else?
on Discord, you're fine. It's outside of Discord. I think it's. Let me play back there. It sounds good to me, actually. Now, I don't know if it's something.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting no issues on mine. But anyways,
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not annoying. Sometimes
Yeah.
you just gotta like refresh the stream.
Yeah.
Let me see a tier list maker.
Yeah, so I just basically chucked up the same. So
Where is
let
it
me
actually?
see if you.
Did you send in my DMs?
I did. I can send it again.
Oh, okay, yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So I think it should be the same layout, right? Have you got the 1908 at the start, and then like the Grand Seiko and the
Oh, okay, that's
Panda,
okay. Dang, you did the whole thing. All right. So this is
the
gonna
whole
be
thing.
so this is going to be more of a community driven thing, I guess. So if you have any takes
I
on
think
it.
it's a mix. Yeah, exactly. So we have a couple different things here, right? So number one is the hitter, right, with the fire emoji.
All right.
And then that's for, only the best of the best. Beneath that, we got dope, so pretty good. And we got could be better. So it's like, it's nice, but it could be better. Then we got a midder. So midder is when it's just kind of mid. And then we got poopy.
All right.
And then right below that, we got shitter with the poop emoji. And then I got one more extra category called overpriced, right? And that's just for something that it's like, it's so overpriced, or it's just like 500 grand or whatever. So it's like it's cool, but it's no one will ever be able to afford it, right? So yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Alrighty, so do you want to just go from the top to bottom, right? We start with the 1908,
Yep.
the gold bracelet.
Let's start with the 1908 gold bracelet from Rolex.
Yeah, the top left one from Rolex. Yeah. What do you think? Go ahead.
No, I think this is like one of the more because there's a lot of Rolexes that we had to go through. This was the one that stood out to me the most. I like a very classy looking watch, like dress watchy watch. Of course, affording it is out of the picture, but based on how it looks, I also like it with the leather strap. Honestly,
Yeah.
How much was this?
Yeah.
Like 100? Okay.
No, it's like 35 for solid gold.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't consider this anything other than mid, in my opinion. I don't know about you.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, right? Like, I think it's anything between could be better and dope because I mean you get exhibition case back, it's gold, it's got a nice movement. It's a classy watch, right? I think whether you get it on the gold bracelet or you get it on the strap, it doesn't really matter, right? It's dope either way. So I think it's dope, right? I think the chat, do you guys agree with me? Do you think this is a dope watch? We'll have to wait and see. But why don't we'll put it up in dope for now because I think we both
we can
kind of
always
agree
change it.
that
It's not like it's not gonna be final. All right, the
exactly.
Mount Iwate purple Grand Seiko.
Yeah, I think that's like could be better or like midder, to be honest.
Wait, why do you say that?
I think it's just I mean, maybe I'm being too harsh because it's only 5 to 6 grand, right? Like it's more of entry level. But yeah, I don't know actually. Maybe put a dope. Yeah, I agree with you.
You can be
Actually, it's pretty
controversial.
dope
Like
for the price.
you don't have to listen to me or anyone in the chat. It's your opinion.
No, I think
I honestly think it's like actually affordable and it's something like within my realm. Like, you know, if I work hard, I can achieve that. But I would say like I would just probably get a regular Shinbun if I'm paying that much, right?
yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, right? Is that, at its price, like it's competing with Shumbun and other ones that are like spring drive, titanium, etc. So that's why I say like could be better, right?
Yeah, I think
Like
it's
I
not
don't think
like
it's better.
it shouldn't be your first Grand Seiko.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
this could be better.
Yeah. Um, the Black Bay Panda Chrono. I think that's dope. I think there's, I'm not gonna call it a hitter, but I think it's pretty dope.
The Panda.
The Panda, yeah.
Hmm. I actually don't know where to put this. I mean, more entry level stuff, which is good. To be
Yeah.
honest.
I think it's either like, I don't know. It's just like Mida could be better. There's nothing crazy about it, right? It's like a panda. Everyone has a panda. Right?
Yep. I
I
don't know
don't
where to
think it's
put
just
this one.
worth talking that much, right? That's why I say it's like a mid.
Mid.
Yeah, I'd say it's a midder. It's
Yeah.
just it's not making me go out there and go crazy.
I think honestly, most of the two doors were pretty. Okay, out of all the, I mean, like the Panda and the other, two door black bays, kind of similar. But how do you feel about the Rolex Explorer at home?
I think that one's dope, right?
Yeah,
I think it's dope. Like,
out of all the releases that Tudor announced, like
yeah,
this is probably one of my favorites.
yeah, I think that one's dope, and I think all of the other ones are just midders. The burgundy one, I think, could be better, but
Can we put something
that's
in
only because
poopy? Like I'm itching to put something on poopy. I
you
don't know
wanna
if Tudor deserves it.
go ahead to the Cubitus then. Like, skip
We
ahead to the
skip ahead to
Cubitus a bit.
Cubitus.
Yeah, yeah. The Cubitus is a shit.
Okay, we're putting in
It's a
poopy
premium shitter.
right here. Okay.
The Cubitus, no, I think the Cubitus is shitter.
Oh, we're putting
I
in
don't think it's
shitter.
poopy.
Okay.
I think it's a shitter.
All right.
It looks to me like if you go on like DHgate or AliExpress or whatever, and you look up like Patek Philippe Nautilus, and you buy like a $20, Chinese like a Chinese clone. It's not even a super clone. It's like as cheap as possible clone of a Nautilus. That's what the Cubitus feels like, right? That's why I say it's a shitter.
All right. Yeah, I agree. All the other, let's just go through the two doors. So we just put it in mid here. They're inoffensive. Like they don't. They're okay.
Yo, Nacho MC, thanks for subscribing. Cubitus is a Casio homage. Yeah, it's not what I'm looking for.
Yep.
Not what I'm interested in. All right, what do we have up next?
This next one is the very thin Bvlgari.
Um, I think that's that's a hit up, but like it makes more sense it's overpriced, right? Like I get it, it's a record and stuff like that, but it's a titanium watch, right? And like 678 grand. It's just I get it, but it's crazy. It's a crazy amount.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you feel about that? I think it makes sense at
I don't know
overpriced.
if gimmick is the right word. I don't think it's a gimmick, but it's like it's very impressive for its size.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna say overpriced.
Yeah.
I'll put it
Yeah,
in overpriced
definitely.
tier.
Yeah. Are we just gonna go across now?
I think
Like,
overpriced is not a bad thing, right? Do you want to make that clear or?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, overpriced. That's why it's like that kind of that light blue, right?
Yeah.
Um, I should have probably fixed up the colors before we started because the shitter is green for some reason and the hitter is red.
Yeah. The colors are a
But
little.
yeah,
Oh. Hey
Yeah.
Simon, thank you so much for the comment. Love your channel. Been binge watching it. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I mean, can you explain why we're doing these live streams like in the middle of the week? Like maybe that might be good to.
Yes. So basically, this is gonna be called Watches Wednesday. So we're gonna go over all of the new releases. We might not just for Watches and Wonders, but the new releases for Casio, Seiko, etc. Also, we just talk and answer you guys' questions and just enjoy chatting about watches, anything really. So we answer questions from Discord as well. And then people can watch back the stream and enjoy kind of getting a peek into our mind about watches, right? And enjoy talking a bit more controversially about watches. Um, with the stream, it's all just for fun. I know we're calling things hitters and shitters. We don't actually believe that these are completely terrible watches. It's just a fun way to enjoy our hobby a bit more, right?
Yep. All right, let's go with the new Cartier trunk.
I think it could be better, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Like it's not bad. It's better than a Mitta, but it could be better. Like I'd love to see maybe I don't know like a Cartier perpetual version of this, right?
I'm more into like the regular tanks, and it kind of it's kind of sad to see it covered up,
Yeah,
but it's just a
exactly.
different. It's different, so it's not for everyone.
Yeah, yeah. I think jumping hours recently have been getting more popular.
Yeah. Oh, Harris says he really loves the jump hour.
Yeah, that's what I think though. It's like it depends on the person because for
Mm.
some people they're going to be
Well,
like
I don't
absolutely.
own like a tank, so maybe if I had like several or one, I would probably be like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think you're right. This is for the person who has like maybe a normal tank,
Hmm.
then they have like a Santos, or they have like a stone dial one, and they want something a little different, right?
All right, let's move on to the next one. Is this the Rolex meteorite? Can't really.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a meteorite one.
yeah. I think that's dope. I think
Yeah.
that's dope, right? It's like a ghost, but with meteorite instead. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's absolutely dope. I would even want to say it could be in the hitter category, right?
Yeah, I mean it's up there. It could potentially. Do you want to put it in the hitter? You want to?
I think it's hitter. I think it's hitter, man. Like it's just the color, everything. I think that one specifically is a hitter. The other variants of it
Yeah, not
are
so
dope,
much.
but
Yeah,
that one's hitter.
I think up next is the JLC Reverso.
Uh, so Simon says, when you're out in public, you see someone who loves watches but owns a $50 Casio, as opposed to someone who's wearing a 20 grand Rolex, who may not know about watches. What's your thoughts on that?
Hmm.
I don't mind either way. I think for me, like the thing I like to see most is like really interesting vintage pieces, right? So like, they might not be expensive, but if I see like a 50, 100, $200 like vintage Seiko that is like really cool, that to me is the most interesting. I guess I'm just generally more into vintage than you, but I think if I talk with someone, they explain why they think their watch is cool. I enjoy talking with them a lot more. Um, and it doesn't matter the price of the watch, but if they explain why they think their watch is cool, that to me is the most enjoyable that I
Yeah, I
have.
agree. So I mean, sometimes you come across people that has like Rolexes, but they don't really. It's always like, oh, I got it from my dad or something, and they don't really explain why they like it. They just wear it because it just says Rolex. But I think that's
Yeah,
kind of normal for a lot of Japanese people. Like we really care about brands here. Rolex is one of
yeah,
the more well-known ones. And for some
yeah,
reason,
definitely.
whenever we post a video, everyone's like, "Oh, it's fake! It's fake!" a lot of
Yeah,
quote unquote fake watches on our channel, but we actually recorded the video talking about that. Try to edit it and piece it together, make it like a weekday upload. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, exactly. We're gonna try and do
addressing the
like we'll have
allegations.
yeah, yeah. So we'll still have on our weekend videos will be the street interviews, but we're trying to also do some what is it called? Like weekday uploads, like a bonus content kind of deal.
Yeah,
But yeah, let's knock out these two reversos. Yeah, I mean, it's just more of the same, right? Like, I don't think either of those ones are crazy in the white and blue. I think they're just midders, right?
yeah. Nothing new for these, honestly. Can we go through the other JLC, like the you have the world
the
timer
crazy
one?
one.
Yeah, I like the world timer one.
The world timer one to me is a hitter.
Yeah, I
In
agree.
either
Like just
steel or
having that, like you can just flip it, right? And then there's what's the other side look like?
the other side is a world timer. So on the front it's like very basic, but
Okay.
then on the back it's the world.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
yeah, I mean,
ND came back with the burgundy Black Bay 58 in midair. What's going on? What was the discourse on that? We didn't really have a discourse, right?
yeah, I think it's the best out of their new releases.
Yeah.
Like the black and blue and the black and silver one is not that interesting. So it's like the top of the middle, you know what I mean? So you got to drag it to the left side of the middle
Okay,
because
it's high
I think it's
midair,
the
right?
best.
Yeah. Just
It's
because
high
it's
middle.
yeah, just because it's on midair, it's not like the right side is the more.
Yeah,
I like the panda right here.
yeah.
Sorry.
Does the new Alpina have an overview on 34 millimeters? No, I didn't talk about the Alpinas actually. Maybe we'll do another stream in the future
Well, like
talking
the thing
about
is,
the
we still
smaller.
have a lot more stuff happening over the next few days.
Yeah, exactly.
And well, I guess I'll bring it up later. But let's go through the other JLC. This is the crazy one with the what was it?
Um, the retro. I mean, both of them I think are overpriced, right?
They are
Like
overpriced.
they're cool,
Yeah.
but it's not really worth talking about them that much because they're already all sold, and like it's just insane. You know, they're really really nice, but you'll never see one, let alone touch one, let alone own it.
Mm.
So it's just overpriced for both.
All right. Up next, we have the green ceramic Rolex. I really love the look of this one. I'm not gonna lie. Not a left-handed
Yeah.
person, but I would definitely consider
Mm.
putting that on.
I think it's somewhere between dope and could be better, right?
Hmm.
Because
How could it be better? And what do you mean?
um, I think it would have been cool if they did like a malachite dial here, right?
Hmm.
Like they did a tiger's eye on the other one, and then you've got the meteorite on the Pepsi. Why is this one just a green ceramic? Like, can you imagine if they tried a malachite here?
Hmm.
It would be like I think that would make it an absolute hitter in my mind. But
Yeah.
that's why I think it's like somewhere between could be better and dope. And I think the other one is the tiger's eye one. That to me is a hitter.
You like
Like
the
no
tiger
question
design
about
one?
it. I love it. I think that one's
Really?
awesome.
I think it's
Yeah.
tacky as hell. Yeah, I don't like this one.
How dare you, little bro?
I don't like this one.
Yeah. Um, I mean, what's not to love, man? Like it's got,
I don't know. I don't know. Let's see what chat says about this one.
yeah.
I'll
I think it's
put
just
it in
got.
dope. No one's asking for red watches. Should have been blue. Hmm.
Yeah, I think the fact that the bezel is red too on the burgundy is what makes it cool. They should have made the blue one have a blue bezel too. So I don't know why they did it blue with a black bezel. It's just kind of weird.
Well,
I think too. George Sim says Tudor is completely overrated watch. I think that like if it wasn't known as like the cheaper version of a Rolex under the Rolex brand, would people still like Tudor? Probably not, right?
Andy
They
is
would.
a Andy is a big defender of Tudor. I love Tudor. I think I would probably go for one. It's more within my range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is though, like they'd be if they weren't, related to Rolex, they would be fighting with PRX and losing. Like
Right.
let's be clear,
Mm-hmm.
right? They'd be fighting for that like entry level Swiss battleground.
I think I think there was a Black Bay that was based off of like the Chinese New Year's. It came out
Yeah.
a few months ago. I really like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like the
They
red.
have some interesting. It's just they're very tame overall.
All right,
Anyway,
let's move on to the Grand Seiko Bust Down Edition.
I hate to say it, but poopy.
Yeah. Let's put it in movie. I agree. Like Grand Seiko.
Like I don't think it's
mean,
overpriced because to gem set like that is crazy, and I think it's a very reasonable price for the amount of gem setting and like
Mhm.
gem selection work that goes into that. and the movement is really nice. And so, but it doesn't look that good. It
Mm.
doesn't look good as a bust down. It doesn't look good as a Grand Seiko. I just think it's poopy. It's not overpriced. It's just poopy.
I agree. Yeah, it's just weird that Grand Seiko would do it. I mean, it's not their first time
Yeah.
doing something like this, right?
Yeah, exactly. I just wonder if they'll actually be able to. Right?
Yeah, it's probably we'll never come across this.
Yeah.
Yeah. IWC three. There's three different versions. The one with the blue one,
The blue one, I think that's a hitter
the hitter. Yeah,
because yeah,
I think
like the
yeah, I think
dial.
IWC did a pretty good job this year with the amount of stuff that they released.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's perpetual calendar. It's pretty reasonably priced. The blue on it is really nice. I think it's kind of the natural evolution. Like, I think that the other IWC perpetual calendar doesn't really look as good as this one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's nice to see perpetual calendars in sports watches. For me, that's a hitter. That's an easy.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. But the black and the gold one, which one? There's two other ones.
The black and gold one, I'd say, I don't know, like could be better. I don't
You
really
think
know
so?
what would make it better, but it's just it's not a mitter, but it's not dope. So I just feel like it could be better, right?
I'm putting it in shitter. I'm doing it. Okay.
VZ says no seconds hand on the blue IWC. I think that's better for perpetuals because you don't want the second blocking all of the the subdials all the time, right?
I'm sorry. I'm a big fan of the seconds hand. Yeah, I like seeing the second hand just glide around. Could be me. Yeah.
So you think the ceramic could be better? I think the ceramic is dope.
Oh, the ceramic green.
No, the ceramic black IWC.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't know which one you wanted.
Yeah, I think the perpetual is hitter.
Mhm.
The black ceramic is dope, and then it could be better for the gold one
Yeah.
because
Cheeseman
I
is
mean,
saying he likes the black and gold out of the three.
you know what? I can agree with that. I think both are dope.
I like the gold look to it. Honestly, yeah, this one's
Yeah,
tough. You know what, IWC I think did a really good job this year. I'm just gonna
yeah,
say
yeah,
both dope.
yeah. I think yeah. I mean, it's hard. Like if you really like gold, then I think that rose gold one is really nice. I'm not a big like rose gold fan,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe that's why. But I think all three of their releases were very good.
All right,
Yeah,
here's
maybe put it in dope as
yeah.
well.
All right, so here's the next three controversial one: the land dwellers. We have the blue one, the gold one, and then the silver one.
Yeah, I think the platinum one in blue
Yep.
is poopy.
Why? I actually like that one out of the three.
It's just the chicken wire dial. It's like on the movement side, the case back, everything else, the bracelet is awesome,
Hmm.
but then it's just let down so much by the dial. Like in white, it's not as noticeable, but when it's in that ice blue, it's
Hmm.
so noticeable how much of a chicken wire dial it is. Right?
Chicken
Like I
wire.
don't want to say
Okay.
outright it's shitter. That's why, like at most I could give it as midder, especially for that price with platinum and stuff. It's just
Yeah, it is platinum. Yeah, that's true. All right, let's put it in poopy. Sure, why not?
yeah. And then the rose gold one, I think is midder, right?
High mid
I
or
think that
low
one will
mid?
be. I think it's high mid. I think it's depends if I think on ladies it'll be a lot better,
Yeah.
but I think on men it's like it's a complete midder without a. And I think the steel one, I think that one's could be better because the dial really lets it down, but everything else is really nice on it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I just like the exhibition case back. Just
Yeah,
yeah,
exhibition
I'm
case
really like
back, like
liking that trend. I don't know.
yeah,
I just
yeah.
it's nice to see it. I don't know if I saw a video today about how Teddy was like the first one of the first person to like break the news on the land dweller. And it was
Mm.
like there was this guy saying that it was like refreshing to see that YouTubers are like being taken seriously, because like a lot of the people that do these events and go to these events don't really understand like social media So
Yeah,
the fact that like YouTubers have like a stronger presence
is a good
is a
thing.
good
Yeah,
thing. Yeah,
definitely.
it's changing.
Yeah. So VZ says the Landrella rollout was awkward. Weird dials, weird color dial choice to start with. Yeah, I think I agree with that. Like, I think once we get one with a normal dial, everyone's opinion will change.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's coming too, right? It has to.
yeah, probably, probably. Black and Dean Dixon says ceramic over the gold. Are you really watch, guys? That's I think because ceramic is one of those materials that looks really good forever, right? It's very hard to scratch ceramic. It can shatter if you bang it really hard, but that's why the watch will look fresh. So I think it's like a general all day, every day. It's like a dope watch, right? And it's not going to attract attention so much like a gold one all the time. And it's very reasonably priced compared to the other two, right?
All right, let's keep
Um,
moving on. We have the
yeah,
three
so
longs.
the Lange 1815, I mean, it's the entry level for theirs. Like, I think it's good for the price. You know, you can't really expect it to be like super crazy.
So could be better.
You know?
It's fun.
Yeah, it could be better. I think it's good. You know, it's just Lange being Lange, and with the entry level models, right?
All right, how about
Honestly, I would say
the?
it's a midder for the price. It's a midder.
Oh, okay, sure.
Um, and then the black, you know, ultra complications from Lange. I think that's a hitter.
That's a hitter. Yeah, this is like my favorite one. The whole event so far.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's an absolute hitter. I think the honey gold is an absolute hitter as well.
You like the honey
I don't
gold?
think yeah, I don't think it's crazy to say that. Like the honey gold, the brown dial, those ones, it just really works together. And like it has some nice complications too. It's just really nice.
I agree.
Um, and then the three OPs from
I
Rolex.
just
What are you
keep on
thinking on
thinking. I
those?
just keep on thinking about the condoms. Like, you guys really ruined it for me. But
The
yes, it's
bezel?
true. It has to be above. Is it going to be above the purple Grand Seiko in your opinion?
I think the lavender one is could be better. The other two are midders, right? And I
Yeah, I really
think
like the
it's
lavender look as well.
yeah, I think the lavender, the Grand Seiko lavender one is better than the Rolex lavender, but they're both in the same, could be better. And then the other two, the beige and the pistachio, they're just midders.
This one hurts.
Like
They can
it's nothing.
discontinue the sunburst blue dial for a matte blue. What do you guys think?
Um, yeah, getting rid of the sunburst blue. I did like the sunburst blue a lot, but you know, they can't have the same models around forever, right? And that one's been around for a long time. So, you know, it just doesn't it like they have to discontinue it at some point, right?
The time has come.
Yeah.
Looking
The
forward
thing is
for.
too,
Oh, sorry.
once we're done with this stream, we'll also give you guys access to this, and you can make your own version and post it to the Discord if you want to.
All right, yeah, I can do
So,
that.
you
That's
know,
a good idea.
we can discuss it, you know, in depth on the Discord as well.
Yeah. Looking forward for a not watch to appear in the interview soon. Yeah, I'm surprised a lot of people know about not now. I've been getting a lot of ads on my Instagram. Honestly, been seeing it
Yeah.
pop in.
Yeah, I want to do a interview with I got a business card of the guy who runs social media for Not,
Yeah, I
like their marketing manager.
think that'd be good.
So we're trying to organize a time to have a chat with them about their brand on camera, which would be nice.
All right, next, the two Cartier, the gold
Um,
and the tiger. What's it called? What's that one called?
the bust down, and then the I'm gonna call it the Cougar watch,
Cougar watch. Okay,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. And to be clear, I don't think there's anything wrong with Cougars. I think it's, you know, it's great, right? Um, yeah, I mean the bust down in gold, I think it's just a middle, right? Like I don't think this watch is really for us, yeah, anyway, right? But it's just like I think if you're already doing gold, to do gold and then a bust down is just too much, right?
Yeah, it's not
You got to
not
pick
for
one.
not for me.
Yeah, that's why I say it's a middle. And then I think the Cougar watch is dope.
You like the Cougar watch? I'm like
I
really
like the
opposed.
Cougar.
I'm
I
very
might
opposed to this. I don't know if I'm wrong
really
here.
I see it as like, man, on the right place, right time, on the right woman. That's like an absolute hitter, you know. Or like, let's say I'm going to like the gay district of Tokyo, right?
Mm.
And there's a there's a guy wearing that, you know, I'd be like, damn, that guy's got some. Is it extroverted? Is it out there? Is it a little over the top? Yeah. But on the right person, I think this is a absolute. I think it's a dope or a hitter,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I put it in. I
Am
put
I
it in one of
crazy?
those. I put it in one of those. Don't worry about it.
All right. I was about to start fighting you, bro. I was at the end of my rope. If you're gonna put that in shitter, we're gonna have trouble.
Okay. What are these? This is the Patek, right?
Yeah, the Patek bust down. Um, I mean, I hate to say it, it's a middle, the bust down. Oh, it's just overpriced, right? But
Yeah, I
maybe
put
that's
it
a better place.
overpriced. Is that fine?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just all the money's gone. I feel like, you know, you put that much time and effort into gem setting, why not do a perpetual or some other complication as well in it, right? Like, because you end up paying like $1 million just for the gems, you know?
Right.
Nice. I tune in for the interview. I have one and I love it. Yeah, okay, looking forward to not. All right, so the blue Nautilus. I think that's dope. I think it's dope.
Yeah.
I think that's the perfect like classy ladies watch. A little bit of diamonds, not too much. Like, you know,
Is this the
it's
one with the
nice.
blue strap? There's another variant of it.
I think both of them are the same. They're
Oh,
both
okay,
dope,
yeah,
right?
I liked it with the blue strap.
Yeah, I combine them. But yeah, strap or bracelet, they're both the same thing. They're dope, right?
Yeah, I forgot which one. This is also a Patek. No,
Which one is a look like? Oh,
circular.
and gold.
Yeah,
That's the Parmigiana Fleurier. Yeah, I think it's dope. There's not much to say about it. You know, it's like a cool perpetual. It's not over the top. You know, it's very kind of low key for a
yeah, I would
gold
say it's low
perpetual
key.
watch. Right? So I know I like it.
Okay, and then
And then the two style,
no, it's the one with the bracelet. Who was this again?
Piaget, the two
Piaget. Yeah.
Piaget stone dials. Yeah, could be better. I think you know
We're
they're
not
not
having
bad. They're
enough
not.
on the shitter. Like, where's the shitter? Is that?
Um, we'll get there. Don't worry, bro.
We'll get there. Okay. The red Rolex.
Um, I think this one is kind of poopy.
Okay.
Because I mean, I just want to see them do something else. Maybe that's too harsh because it's just it's kind of you know what I mean? Like I
You
want
say
to see the
you
red
didn't like
ombre.
the you didn't like the date window, right?
I don't like the day window. I don't like the um like I want to see the red ombre somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Could be
Where do we
used
put
somewhere.
the
So.
Piagets, by the way? On midder. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Uh,
right at the bottom of midders for me. I think.
all right. We have the two oil watches.
Um, yeah, I think they're dope. They're both dope, right?
Yeah,
Like
they're
there's
very like unique. I've seen a few
yeah.
videos on it. It's just like, whoa, it looks like a smartwatch. I don't know if that's like a diss.
I'd say they're dope, but overpriced, right? Like, there's no precious metals. They're not like super complex. They don't have a lot of complications. Like, why are they, you know, so expensive, right? They're
You
dope,
don't
but
know?
they're
Maybe it's like
overpriced.
really nice oil.
Maybe they got Diddy
Oil,
oil in them. That's
oil in this economy is very expensive.
yeah, they got Diddy oil. That's why it's
Yeah.
you know, it's a rare mineral. Yeah, I'd say put them in overpriced. They're dope, but overpriced. Put one in dope. Put one in overpriced.
Okay. We're almost done.
Um,
The serpent
Shitter.
chitter. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, the other version is much better. I don't know what they were thinking with this one. It's like a shittier version of a watch they already have. That to me is a clear shitter. I don't know how you feel about it, but If I see someone wearing that, I just think it's super tacky, especially when the Serpenti, like the other one, is so classy. To have this one, it just
Yeah, I like the other one as well.
yeah. There's like a black ceramic Serpenti that is awesome, and it like wraps around your like your
Whole arm.
hand.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
would
so
say
that
so.
one's
Yeah.
really really nice.
I
And
think it's
then
a
they
different
come out.
it's a different variation. I think it's good to have.
Yeah, it's shorter and shittier. It's like if you're gonna do a Serpenti, go the whole.
Yeah, the oil makes the appearance of the dial change, makes it very clean and clear. Yeah, I actually love this watch a lot. I would still say it's overpriced, but it's not in a bad way.
Yeah. Okay, the John Mayer Sky Dweller.
Yeah, a lot of people
I
didn't like
think,
this one.
yeah, I think the movement is like, yeah, I like that the movement's complex. It's got the date like, the date month complication,
Mm.
but I don't know. It's just not really doing something for me. I kind of would say it's like poopy.
Yeah, we'll have to agree on that one. Just I do like the complications. It's really impressive, but especially for a Rolex. But I
Yeah.
just not a fan of the green and gold. I'm not.
Yeah.
That's
I think
just
it
two
works better
colors I
on
just don't like
Daytonas.
it. Yeah, I just don't really like it. Right.
It works
We
better on
have
Daytonas with a subdial.
yeah, that would look a lot better on a. You're right. We have the Grand Seiko, the two Grand Seikos. The this is one of
Uh,
my favorites, honestly.
yeah, the Tensograph, Tokyo Lion, and
Tentograph. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we have the other version of it, the orange.
No, we've got both the Tokyo Lion and the Mountie one.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's right next to each other. Yeah, I'm gonna. Can I choose this one? Can I say hitter?
Yeah.
Is
For
that
for what the Mountie what?
yeah the Tenta?
Yeah, yeah, I'd say hitter.
Thing's great.
I'd say I'd say hitter, and I'd say the Mount Lion is dope.
Line's dope. Yeah, I love the back of this. Like looking at it from the back is awesome. Very
I'd
impressive.
love to see like a Mount Dian, the Tokyo Lion in like a rose gold with a rose gold strap.
Yeah.
I think that would be really awesome.
No
But
34
it's
millimeter long, 1815.
we did put the Lang 1815 in midder. It's right there at the front of the midder.
Oh, right here, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, nice to see you leaving pastime. Welcome in. The Tiffany Daytona.
You didn't like this one, right?
Shitter.
What you said, shitter or hitter?
I say shitter. No, shitter.
Oh,
Shitter.
okay. I was like, whoa.
It's just too much. It's too
It's too
much
much. Yeah, I
clashing.
don't like the
It's
blue on the gold, and it just looks messy. It looks like
yeah.
It really looks like one of those like rip off roll
Yeah.
sex.
It looks like if you know, yeah, it looks like if you know like DIW or like Artisans de Geneve,
Mm.
which do like customized Rolex. It looks like I don't know, somebody like gave them too much money and just like forced them into making a really weird like mix of something.
Yep, yep. It's not yeah, that's good call on that one. Yeah, it's horrible. I hate it. On the plus
Yeah,
side,
it's weird
the
because
meteorite one is so much better. Why it's up here.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird because I actually, if it was not a Daytona, if it was something else, I could kind of get behind it, right?
Mhm.
And if it was like maybe white gold instead of yellow gold, but yeah, it's just too much clashing.
Too much clashing,
It's
yeah.
too much clashing.
All right, up next we have the two Grand Seikos.
Um, yeah, I just think I hate to say it, but could be better on both of them, right?
Wait, but this is the one with the impressive.
Yeah,
What do you mean? Like it's impressive, right? Like it's how many seconds a year? You said like
yeah.
12.
The movement, absolute hitter. The fact that they changed the bracelet, they put the power reserve on the back, absolute hitter. But let's be clear, the dial is mid.
You don't
The
like the
dial is
dial?
very mid. No, I
Mm,
don't. It's when this movement goes into a Shungbun version 2, that
yeah, I
that
can agree
watch
with
is
that.
going to destroy the universe, right? And then everybody's going to go crazy for it. But that's
Yeah.
why I say it could be better. It's
Okay.
like it's just I know the Mount Iwate dial is not bad. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad, and it's really good on the lavender one. So I'd say it's actually ranked worse than the lavender Mount Iwate dial. I think the platinum one is a midder, honestly. I would
Okay.
say the titanium one could be better, and then the platinum one is a midder.
Okay. Well, all right. I mean, I thought it was a huge upgrade for Grand Seiko. I think it's a good step in the right direction for the brand overall. I can't wait for like a new Shumbun of that.
Yeah, that's exactly how I
Yeah, the
feel.
dial should be special
Exactly.
on that one. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like their most popular dial is Shumbung, right? The Sea of Clouds, that style of dial. So then why do a Mount Iwate? I guess because they're doing Mount Iwate at the moment, but they could do better.
We have. Do you guys know the truth about Grand Seiko servicing their watches? I heard rumors that the GS aren't servicing some 5 to 10 year old watches. Surely it can't be true. I don't know anything about that.
I think there's a lot of like misinformation because I think they're like the way that they explain stuff is not so good. Because a lot of the servicing has to go back to Japan for certain stuff.
Yeah.
So I think they could do better with their servicing stuff, right? So
Yep. All right, let's move on to this is the Vacheron,
yeah,
the 3
I think
Vacherons.
I think the straight one, I think it's called the Traditionnel. That one to me is like a midder.
Yeah.
And then the other two, I don't know. How do you feel about those?
Those are beautiful. I love how they look.
Yeah, I
Um,
can see that. I think the
definitely an art
tourbillon
piece.
one, the tourbillon one, I don't know. How do you feel about that one?
They're honestly very similar to me.
Yeah, they are very similar. They made the same watch 3 times, basically.
uh, well, I'd say dope.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're not jumping out to me like, they need to be in hitter.
Mm, they're not hitters for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, put that in dope. And then the
I feel like the
final one,
tourbillon one is better than the moon phase one.
the final one.
Mm.
Which one was this from again? This was also a Vacheron?
Vacheron.
Yeah.
It's the ultra
The
complicated
40, was it 41, 42
41
complications?
complications, yeah.
I think this is awesome. It's not realistic I don't think it's realistic to own, but it's probably one of the things that really impressed me so
Yeah,
far.
I mean, the thing is too, I love the coloring, like stuff that they've done on it, right? Like with the bracelet and everything too.
Mm.
So it's not just that it's like super cool, but they also like the fact that they use that like green and red, and it has like it's all black, but then it has some splashes of color all over. I think that kills it with this.
Can I say hitter?
Um, I'd say hitter. I'd say this is. Let me see the hitter section again. What else is in the hitter? But it's definitely one of the higher end hitters. But it's hitter and overpriced at the same time, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I like how you can the other side of the watch is also it has complications there. So
Yeah, I think that both the Langs are better than it. Let's be clear.
yeah.
But yeah. All right. Any closing thoughts you have?
No, I think
And
this
what
is
about the
good.
chat? Any closing thoughts? What do you guys think about our ranking? Is this tier list that we made a hitter or a shitter?
Yeah. The final look of I'll save it and put it in the Discord. If you guys aren't part of the Discord, please consider joining so you can like maybe put a link in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, let me
Yep.
get it up for you now. I'll get one that lasts forever. All right, here we go. Yeah.
Yep.
Discord link so you can make your own list, post it there, and we'll talk about it. Yeah, anything else you want to say about today's stream? I think it was quite nice. We got to talk about a lot of watches.
Yeah, thanks guys
Um,
for watching the whole way through. I do have to, get off and get some food because I'm starving. I am
yeah, me too.
starving. Yes. But thank you guys for, being in the chat and talking. I think next week we're not gonna be super long with a bunch of announcements. I don't know, it really just depends. But I
Yeah, I
can't wait to
think
talk about the Casio drop for this month.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So we've already seen Casio's releases. I think there's some hitters and shitters in there. I think it'll be a lot easier to have a discussion about, in this one it's hard to put stuff in shitter because there's a lot of really good releases. But
Hmm.
with something like Casio, Seiko, Orion and stuff like that, it's a lot easier to be able to say that something's a shitter or a poopy, right?
Yeah.
Because
I,
this is just a normal April release, not like Watches and Wonders, which is like the biggest drop of the year.
yeah, I completely agree. I mean, some of these are just like unrealistic. I can't really put any thoughts behind it outside of it. Hey, it looks cool, you know.
Mm.
But yeah, I think it was a pretty good. Thank you for the presentation. I can't wait to
No
see
worries.
more news on watches, and we want to keep doing this more and discuss about try to discuss it every week as much as we can. I think it's a good
Yeah.
midweek stream to kind of, because 1 week is very long, but
Yeah, exactly. So we actually got one question from the Discord that I forgot to ask,
oh,
but we'll use it as our closing question. How about that for us and everyone in the chat? So, what makes a watch bad in your totally subjective opinion? So, yeah, you want to answer that?
you should go first because I'm trying to think what makes it bad.
I think what makes it bad is like it can be anything on any watch, right? So I think the reason why I think like the Cubitus is a shitter is because it's just the proportions don't seem to work well, and then like it just feels like a derivative kind of mix from the other one. And then like again, the reason why I decided that the Daytona in Tiffany blue was a shitter is just too many color clashes and stuff like that, right? So I think if it was just doing only if it was doing like stainless steel or white gold with the Tiffany colorway, it would be a lot better. So I think just trying to do too much on one watch face, not like having too many clashing colors and stuff like that, can really throw off a watch. Apart from that, just like just it's hard to say, but just like looking like weird, right? When there's just like the pattern isn't really matching the colors or stuff like that. That's why I think some of the variants that like if you look at the Shumbun, right? There's a gray variant of the Shumbun that just I don't think it really looks that one. It's too muted, right? When you have a pattern that beautiful, you should have a beautiful color to complement it, right? So that's what to me, I think you should try and when a watch is being designed, you have to go through the refinement process a couple of times to get something that's really good.
Yeah, that was a good take. Yeah, just subjective opinion, but like I just don't really like bulky, like really big watches because my wrists are too small to handle such a giant watch. I think I don't really like just big watches. Obviously, like the look, when the way they look is fine, and I think they're really cool. But I just personally cannot wear something like that, or like just diamonds and like gemstones and stuff. It's not something that just based on off of my upbringing and stuff. I just kind of clashes with my uh ideals. I like more simpler stuff, or like a tank is perfectly fine for me. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. Just good question. There's a lot of questions that we will answer maybe in another stream. Um, maybe one of these days we'll just like talk about the videos and like behind the scenes and stuff like that. But yeah, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think it was awesome. I think I agree with Tim Cheeseman who says that, Rolex made the biggest splash this year. Good to see them responding to enthusiast feedback and making changes.
Hmm.
I agree, right? I think, they had a hitter this year and, they're actually making better movements, better looking movements with an open case back. I hope the trend continues.
I think it's always good, like with anything, like competition's good, right? Just the more we move forward, the better competition, the better products that the consumers get. It's the same for everything, but definitely for watches as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I need to go get some food. If you guys want to, support the stream, if it's your first time watching, please, subscribe to the channel. We also have memberships, which is, I don't think there's any YouTube memberships so far, but we have a few Patreon members, and hopefully we can try to incorporate some of the Patreon subscribers to the stream. Maybe have them on a call, have them, share their thoughts on, watches. And yeah, I think these live streams, it's a little bit more free flowing. It can be fun. Yeah, I'm not really sure if anyone does like live streams about watches. I'm not really. Maybe a few people do. But rest assured, we'll have more street interviews coming up. Unfortunately, we were trying to do like a Hanami cherry blossom viewing episode, but the weather's just been so bad. I don't know. It was great last week, and then it kind of reverted back into like single digits. It's freezing right now. But yeah, don't worry about that. We'll have a lot of that happening over the weekend. So thanks guys for joining. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I think the more that we call like watch brands watches shitters, the harder they'll work to make better products, right?
Yeah,
so
true.
we're doing the God's work.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tim also asked, and Harris asked if we're going to come to the streets of Brisbane. Maybe next time I go to Sydney, I might come to Brisbane as well to try and film some episodes there. But anyway, thanks for your time, everybody. Have a good rest of your day, and yeah, catch you guys on the weekend upload.
Yeah, thank you guys. See ya. I'm gonna end the stream right now.